So there's been something in the news lately that I'd like to get your guys' opinion on. So Clavicular was mid-jestergooning when a group of foids came and spiked his cortisol levels. And is ignoring the foids while munting and mogging moids more useful than SMV chadfishing in the club? And I want your thoughts on that.
I think David should go first. I feel like
I understood every single word in that. I definitely did not just know the word gooning from that sentence.
if you want to break down, let's go sentence by sentence, right? So first let's start with clavicular was mid-jestergooning when a group of foids came and spiked his cortisol levels. Clavicular is the nickname for Braden Peters, who is a reference to his clavicle lengthening widening technique, which is a niche body obsession of body dysmorphia that the community regards with shoulder width. Then we go over to the word jestergooning, which is a portmanteau of two terms: jester maxing, acting like a clown or fool to get attention or cope with social rejection, and gooning, referred to a trance-like state induced by porn addiction, but in this context is generally a means of staring blankly or engaging in obsessive, low IQ behavior. Okay? Then we're going to go down to foids. I think foids is something that you're really going to use a lot, David. Foids is a derogatory incel term for women, short for femoids or female humanoids.
Just because I'm on Reddit. Really?
Yes.
Just because I'm on Reddit?
It actually had nothing to do with the fact that you use Reddit, but let's stick with it, right?
Welcome back to the Uncultured Pop Culture podcast. Welcome back to the Uncultured Pop Culture podcast. I'm your co-host, Brandon, and with me, as always, is your other co-host,
Doovie. I hated that.
And with us today is a third co-host.
Hello, it's me, Sepanta. I think they're going to call me Sep, though. I don't know. So, hi. I feel like I failed a quick time event there. Like, I was supposed to do more, and I really didn't do a good job. But I'm glad with what I did, yeah.
I have to ask you, Sep, to introduce yourself to the people. Let everyone know what they should know about you.
So I'm a screenwriter. I do comedy work. I'm currently in a master's program, but it's actually a master's program that is all women except for me. And it's in an all women's school where this is the only program that allows for non-women to be part of it. So I am the only man in an entire college's full graduating class, as far as I can tell, assuming I do graduate, which I think is pretty cool. But I do comedy writing. I might do stand-up, but that's me.
This is your episode. You chose this movie. You chose this album. But we have to talk about something else before we get there. And I'm actually going to ask David first. And that is, what did you watch in this past week?
I think I mentioned that I rewatched the Spider-Man trilogy, the good one, the Sam Raimi one.
You did.
I decided to continue with our Lord and Savior, Sam Raimi, because I watched Send Help, which is his new movie with, I don't even remember, Dylan O'Brien and, is it Rachel
McAdams?
Rachel McAdams.
Yes, thank you, Rachel McAdams. And I'm happy to report that he did not disappoint. It's a 4. First movie of the year, as in released this year. And we're doing awesome. It was campy. There was blood. It was fun. I loved it. Go watch it if you can. And now I'm going to throw the question to you before we go to Sep. But what have you been listening to? And what is your song of the week, if you have one?
Well, actually, I genuinely did not listen to anything in this past week.
Oh.
And I instead was watching something. And I started a TV show that I heard about.
I think that's a first.
Yeah, there's not a lot of good music, and all of the stuff that I have to listen to, I'm just not interested in dealing with right now. So I actually watched The Pit, season 1 of The Pit.
Holy hell.
Which is a medical drama and is definitely not the thing that I would like normally watch because I'm not a big medical drama person. Right. But let me tell you, holy shit, this deserved Emmys and Golden Globes. This is actually like genuinely a great show. The casting is incredible. The acting is great. They tell it, essentially it's 15 episodes in a season, and each episode is an hour of a shift. And the whole season is just one shift, and it's one day. And I love that because it's also not like other shows that try to do that where it's closer to real time, but it's also like a high stress environment because it's an emergency room. So it's constantly changing and they're constantly doing all these different things. And then there's also a lot of continuity between the episodes, obviously, because there will be cases that start in one episode and then like last a few and end in like episode 5 or whatever. And I was very impressed with this. And season 2 is coming out right now, so I'll be starting that relatively soon. But I was not expecting to like it this much. So that's what I've been watching.
I've been meaning to watch it. I've just been catching up on Severance, so I'm gonna watch it after. Probably.
That's fair. I think you might enjoy it. It's also funny.
Is it? See, I've been worried about that because it reminds me of this other show that I know about. I haven't seen it, mind you, but there's a show called 24. It started in like 2001 or something like that, and it has 9 seasons, and every season there's 4 episodes, and each episode is 1 hour long, and it's just perfectly documenting like a 24-hour sequence of events that happen to just one guy, which is really unfortunate. And I don't know how exactly it works because like I assume at some point he needs to like sleep or eat, but I assume he just stays up for 24 hours. But in my head, I like to pretend that the next season is directly following it. So like the first 7 seasons are just like 1 week of this guy going through like an absolute nightmare where he just doesn't sleep the whole time. And all the actors are aging like a decade's worth over the course of this 1 week. And I don't want to watch it for that reason because I don't want to break that illusion of that being the premise of the show. It's gonna break my heart if I find out like, oh, it's 24 hours and then a year goes by, then the next 24-hour day happens to him.
And my song of the week, real quick, is called Tabloid Talk by Aries and Underscores. I've mentioned Underscores a few times on here. I've mentioned Aries a few times on here. Great song. But now we have to get to the main event. Sep, what have you watched and or listened to in the past lifetime?
Okay, so from the episodes that I've seen of this podcast, I didn't know that we had a song of the week, but I do have a good one that I just picked out right now.
Oh.
And I'm going to say that my song of the week is Dilla Says Go by Jay Dilla because I don't know what anniversary it is. I don't know how long it's been since he passed away, but he passed away 3 days before his birthday. His day of passing away was yesterday, so he actually passed away 4 days ago. So that dates this episode a little bit in terms of what I'm saying. But I think Dilla Says Go is one of the best beats on his album Donuts, which I don't believe David knows about, but Jay Dilla was a producer and rapper who ended up getting very sick and made an entire album of beats on his deathbed and then released the album on his birthday and then passed away 3 days later from his illnesses. And he has no clue because of the fact that he died 3 days afterwards. But his production and his beats have gone on to like influence a lot of albums, including one of the albums that we're going to be talking about today, as there's a lot of small little snippets in there that you're going to hear that are actually from Donuts. So if you want a good recommendation on something that's just going to like lock your brain into like the hip hop space, so you can be like, I got that reference. I know what that's from. Listen to Donuts all the way through. It's just sounds. There's barely any speaking. It is also like a late 90s, early 2000s hip hop album. So there are extended sequences of women moaning and having sex.
As there should be.
Which happens a lot.
Yeah.
That's one of two things. So in Call Me If You Get Lost, I feel like that album is very 90s, early 2000s inspired, but it's missing 2 key things every 90s and early 2000s album has. And that's 1, women moaning, as I just said, but 2, some introspective part where the artist theorizes that God could be a woman and how that would be super hot and how they would like to fuck her if that was the case, or just do anything, you know? It happens a lot more than you think, but this album is missing that from what I can remember, and I've listened to it a lot, so I don't think there's...
I definitely did not catch that.
I did not either.
So there's definitely that, but that's my thing for the week. As far as things I've listened to, Donuts, again, just because of the anniversary. I've also been listening to Nujabes's work a lot recently. He's the guy who like invented lo-fi music, some would say. He also passed away very young, but he was born on the same day as Jay Dilla in the same year. So they were born at like roughly the exact same time, and they're 2 of the most influential producers of all time. So I just think that's super interesting in terms of just like how does that happen? And then the fact that they both died like super young, 3 years apart, I believe. But beyond that, I've also been listening to a couple other things. There's this album called Drive Home Parting Gifts by a group called Portraits of Tracy, which my roommate David, not you, David, different David.
For those of you that don't know, there are like 20 Davids known to our friend group. So, yeah.
And like 7 of those are from me. Like, I know too many Davids. I live with one. I'm very close friends with another. I'm very close friends with another. And then like just in passing moments, I've talked to other Davids. So there's too many Davids for me. But you're one of the 3 that like I keep around, you know? So,
The core Davids.
yeah, you're a core David.
Yeah, literally.
So
I'm happy with
Drive
that.
Home Parting Gifts is an album by Portraits of Tracy, who is a trans musician. So obviously it's going to be good. But my roommate introduced it to me
Amen.
because they really like the album. Whenever I'm in their car, they're always listening to it. And they're like, you have to listen to this. You have to listen to this. And I was like, for sure, for sure. I downloaded it. I listened to like one song that they kept playing. I was like, yeah, this is good. I threw it in my favorites. And then one day I was stuck in traffic like 5 days ago. And I was losing my mind. I was like, screw it. I'm just going to listen to this album. And it is so awesome. It's got like a storyline to it. It's got like depth, character, and the production is crazy and fun and bumpy. And like, I don't know how an actual music person would describe this, because like, even though I'm really into music, I don't really like listen to people talk about music, but like, it's just really good. And I think anybody would enjoy it. It's very hip hop. It's very like emotional and it's very fun. So I would say that. As for movies and TV shows that I've seen, I've just watched a movie called The Thin Man, which is like a 1930s, 1940s murder mystery. It's all right. It's nothing too crazy. Then I saw something called The Gay Divorcee, also a 1930s, 1940s film. Again, it's pretty good. Like it's got like some fun stuff. I've watched a lot of movies recently, just because of my master's program. So like I'm trying to like go to my diary here on my letterbox.
I've never heard of any of the stuff you're talking about, by the way. I know Jay Dilla.
Neither have I.
And I don't know how to pronounce that other guy you talked about.
Nujabes?
Nujabes. Yeah, I've never learned how to pronounce his name, but I've always seen it written so many times.
I've also watched All Quiet on the Western Front, the 1930s version, not the newer version.
Oh.
It's cool. It has this one really like upsetting scene where one of our characters ends up in a pit that was like a bomb blew up and like caused the pit, and there's an enemy soldier and he shoots and kills him, and then spends like 15 minutes pleading for the guy to forgive him for killing him. And the actor for it is not really like playing dead. It's kind of just a guy staring like off into the distance and not moving, but he's so eerily still. It almost looks like it's a PNG if it wasn't for like all the dust settling around you. So that was upsetting. I watched a film called The Red-Headed Woman, just about a red-headed woman causing a fuss. She is with a man and then he gets arrested and he's super jealous. So he's like, while I'm in jail, you better not talk to any other guys. And then she ends up in a sequence of events where she has to talk to a bunch of different guys. And it just goes off the rails.
Are you taking like a 1930s movie class?
Sounds like it.
I watched a film called It Happened One Night, which was the most fun for me personally. Yeah, okay, so you've seen that one.
That's a classic right there.
Clark Gable is very fun in it. He looks like he's from like the 2000s or like even like modern day films. He seems out of his time in a very cool way, which I appreciated. And then on Super Bowl Sunday, so I also watched the Super Bowl, but at the end of the day, me and 2 friends got together and we watched Fist of Legend, which is a 1994 action movie about karate between Chinese people and Japanese people post World War II. It's also a murder mystery and it has some of the craziest action sequences. Just like, it's awesome to watch. You will legitimately jump out of your seat watching this movie because somebody will get punched and then they'll yank them off the screen with like ropes or something and then speed up the footage so it looks like they just got decimated, and they use like chalk powder for all the punches, so every hit has just like a boom of powder.
Oh wow.
That gets in your face, and it's just really fun. My review for the film was 4.5 stars, and then I just wrote holy shit with like 25 O's because that's what I felt.
I know that's a specific style of martial art film that they do there, which I absolutely love. We're gonna have to do a film from that style at some point.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I have other recommendations of that as well. And then I watched the Lego Ninjago movie because I've been in a very big Ninjago kick recently, and the movie is not canon to the TV show. But I was like, I remembered being kind of fun, so I went back and watched it. I surprisingly did not see it in theaters because growing up, I didn't watch movies ever because my parents wouldn't take me to movies because they didn't really have any interest in movies that weren't black and white. So I watched the Lego Ninjago movie, and it's really funny. It's like genuinely like hilarious. There's a lot of like quotable moments. There's a scene where the main character Lloyd has his arm popped out of his socket because he's a Lego, and his dad has to help him pop it back in, and it's just like, it's way longer than it should be, but it's really funny. So that's everything that I've seen in the last week, and I'm probably leaving stuff out.
That's a lot in the last week. That's
that is a
crazy.
lot,
That's
yeah.
We're reaching like David levels here of watching movies.
I will say I've kind of fallen off.
That's like most
I
days for
finally
me.
like gotten back to watching 4 films a week. Kind of. It is hard with how busy I am.
You should be
That's
ashamed of yourself.
crazy. I can't fathom that. I can barely do one.
Oh, I'm also watching Cheers. I'm on season 5 of Cheers. It's really good. However, one of the main characters, like not even like a main character who's always in every episode, but like key to the story. I won't say who, Diane. But one of the main characters leaves, and it's like that was the whole will they won't they is between those two people. So that's interesting. And I watched the show growing up as a kid, and I only ever saw the first 3 seasons apparently because one of my favorite characters just straight up died in the middle of filming one of the seasons. So he just stopped showing up. And I was like, oh, I thought he'd be around for a little bit longer. And then they replaced him with Woody Harrelson.
Oh, wow.
Which is
I did
how
not know
Woody
that.
Harrelson became famous.
All I'm going
in
to
the
say
first place.
is the spin-off of Cheers, Frasier, is one of the best sitcoms ever made and a million times better than Cheers. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm fiending to watch Frasier. I really want to get to it because honestly, Cheers
It's
is like
amazing.
it's falling off at this point because of the whole Sam and Diane thing falling apart. It's like when you are like working a job and you have all these coworkers, and then like a year goes by and everyone's left the job and you're just still there, and there's like 5 new people, and you're like, who are these people?
Okay, what is literally happening to me?
Yeah,
at my
and it's
job.
like sucked.
So,
It's like the whole
that's fun.
cast is gone, but like it just feels that way with this one. Like I don't think that many of the actors have left, but it just feels like more empty. So I want to watch Frasier, and I know you love Frasier, David, obviously because Kelsey
I do love
Grammer's
Frasier, yeah.
MAGA supporter. I feel like you feel very connected to him in that way.
That's the one part I don't like. I don't support him. I wish he wasn't such a good actor.
Yeah, no, it's. I'm sure at this point he's hopefully realized that that's like a ridiculous thing to support right now. I don't know if we're allowed to get political on this show, but
I mean,
I don't-
especially when the actor that plays his brother on Frasier is gay. It's like, wow,
yeah.
how did you
I thought
not
he was gay
realize?
too, if I'm being honest. Like,
Well, guys, I gotta break up the Frasier discussion here.
oh yeah,
time.
I'm done. That's everything I've seen in the last week.
I have to ask
think.
Seth, what is your rating system, and how can you best explain it?
Okay, you're not gonna like it. I know you're not gonna like it because I was listening to episodes in preparation for
I'm
this.
fine with anything.
Best ever, worst ever.
So 5 or 0.5?
Best ever, worst ever. I either think it's the best thing ever made or it's the worst thing ever made. I will not pick a middle ground. I will never say, this is whatever. It's one or the other, and I'm not going to play about that. So
I want to ask you one question. Are there songs on the album that are worst ever?
no.
Okay, so everything is
I
best
think-
ever. So I shouldn't even ask you what your rating is. It's just best ever.
No, you can ask me what my rating is. I've come up with imaginary numbers in my head.
Okay.
But it's like 1 through 10, I guess, is what makes the most sense to me. But
yeah, that's
I'll have
fair.
songs where like I'm like, I like this one more, but this one's a 7, but I like this one less, but it's definitely a 9. And it's like that doesn't really make any sense. But I'm like, I don't know. I like it more because it has that charm to it.
Yeah, you know, it's quirky. It's fun. So now that we have that out of the way, I have to get a few things to say about this album. And then I'm going to let Sep say whatever he wants to say before we talk about the individual songs. So this is Call Me If You Get Lost, the Estate Sale, which is the deluxe version, of course, of Call Me If You Get Lost, which was the 7th album by Tyler, the Creator. The original version of this album was released June 2021. In the Estate Sale version was released nearly 2 years later, March 27th, 2023, both by Columbia Records. And now I want to ask you, how did you discover Tyler, the Creator, and why this album / is it your favorite by him?
This is my favorite album of all time.
Oh,
Which is interesting because I have a very diverse music taste. Like, you see me talk about Tyler, the Creator, and Childish Gambino and Kendrick Lamar, and people are like, okay, those are like his like favorites or whatever. But I will literally listen to anything and I'll watch anything, like as the previous like segment implied. But those artists are really my favorites. But I do listen to a lot of stuff. But I cannot deny that this album has like a specific grip on me. I got into Tyler, the Creator because I didn't get into music until I was 17 years old, which is way too late. I saw this random Childish Gambino beat on a meme, and I was like, that's a good beat. I found the song that it was from, and then I downloaded SoundCloud, and I started listening to anything that was Childish Gambino on there. And then I was like, oh, some of these are remixes. I want to like get into the actual stuff. So I got a pair of headphones that came with 3 months of Apple Music for free, which thank God, because Apple Music is much better than Spotify. I'm sorry.
You can't say that because Spotify's our host.
Oh,
so
oops.
It's
Don't
okay.
care.
We complain about him all the time.
Anyway, so then I listened to a lot of Childish Gambino stuff for a year straight. Just all I would listen to was all 3 or 4 of his albums and all of his mixtapes, everything going on at the time, obviously. I saw this teaser for Tyler, Creator's album, Igor. It was Igor's theme, and it was just like 20 of him standing next to each other, all in yellow suits, and then the beat starts going, and one of them just starts like moving his head while the rest just blindly stare off at the distance. And I was like, this is like a cool music video. And then I saw all the other ones, and they were all these like little like snow globe concepts as like little like visualizers for the songs on the album. So I listened to Igor, and right before the album came out, he made a little post saying like, close your eyes and just like listen to this and don't do anything else. And I have a pretty fried attention span, but I tried my best, and it was really fun. So I got really into his music. And then Call Me If You Get Lost came out 2 years later, because he used to have like a cycle of an album every 2 years, and he would never break that cycle. And then he broke it by doing 2 albums back to back rather than like 3 years apart, which I think is very cool. That just means he's like putting out more music, and it's all still like good quality. But I listened to the album, and it just defined a summer for me. And then as I got more and more into hip hop, because at the time, like, I was only listening to like a few things. By the time Call Me If You Get Lost came out, I was listening to like maybe 4 or 5 different people. And then I got really into hip hop. And no matter how far my experience with hip hop got, no matter how deep into the trenches I got, no matter how clear it was that my favorite stuff was like 90s or early 2000s, this album specifically is something that I would constantly and consistently come back to. And I think that's why it's my favorite album, because I can just listen to it whenever, and it takes me back to 2022, but it also takes me back to 2023 and 2024. Whenever else I'm having this album in my heavy rotation, it has one of my favorite songs of all time on it, and like every other song is also one of my favorite songs. So there's just a lot of this album that to me is excellent. So that's why I picked this.
This is very interesting, because I'd like to tell you something right now. I first heard of Tyler, the Creator, from Flower Boy, and I listened to that album in full when it came out. So I did not expect to have listened to him before you did.
Oh, you did?
In years, which is crazy, because you are a way bigger fan than me. I feel like Tyler, the Creator, is one of those artists that I respect so much, but have never been able to get into like other artists. And we've talked about Childish Gambino. You know, I love him a lot. He's one of my favorite rappers, but I don't know why I can't really get into Tyler like some of the others. But I will say, I think Flower Boy and Chromacopia are the ones that I have multiple songs that I like really enjoy listening to from. So this one, however, I did listen to back in 2021 when it came out, and I was kind of like, I don't know. So, and then we know how David feels about rap music.
Yeah, he hates it.
I mean, okay, but I will say, I don't hate it. I do think it's not for me, but I see like the artistry and I can enjoy it. And not to spoil anything, but I feel like the style of rap that Tyler, the Creator, does is closer to what I like than, I don't know, something more typical, for lack of a better word.
More modern.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I would describe this as pretty music.
Pretty
Yeah.
music.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly. I like pretty music.
I think the reason, my theory as to why Brandon, you don't like this, or you can't get into Tyler the Creator. I don't know why I said that. But like the reason you can't get into him is probably that he feels like he has like a high threshold to get into. He's got a very dedicated fan base and people are very extreme about him. And I know I feel this way about a lot of artists.
That's true.
Where I'm like, this is so cool. I'm such a big fan. And not even artists, just like franchises in general, like Star Trek and things like that, where like I want to be a fan, but then I see what it takes to be a fan, stuff like online standards. And I know I don't have to like do any of that, but it like in the back of my head, it's just gumming up the works for me. I'm like, this seems like so much work. This seems like so much work to like be considered like, a fan of this. And there are negative consequences to being a Tyler fan, because even right now there's a meme of this guy who's wearing like a bunch of like Wolf era Tyler the Creator stuff, and he's like completely like cringy, and it's like having a 28-year-old son who's really into Tyler the Creator, and he's just doing like a sketch. But I've had 6 different people send me the same video in the last week. And it was the same when I was in high school, and I was like the biggest Childish Gambino fan.
One of those people that sent it is friend of the show, Dante. So just
That
want
is
to point
true.
that
He
out.
did do that. But like, it's this whole thing of like, when I was a Childish Gambino fan in high school, he would do anything, and everyone would come to me and be like, "Did you see this? Did you see this?" I'm like, "Yes, of course I saw it." But also, I'm not exactly like that. Like, I'm a huge fan. I like talk about stuff that I'm passionate about, but I don't drool and slobber over everything that like an artist does sometimes. Obviously this doesn't actually bother me. I just think it's funny to talk about this way.
Yeah.
I think it's sweet that everyone like will send me that whenever it happens, that like I'm the first thing that clicks into the mind when something like that happens. Except for Dante, he can go fuck himself. No, I'm kidding.
I love it. Our first rivalry ever.
Yes, first Uncultured Pop Culture rivalry.
This is not
This
the
is
first
great.
rivalry. I also do not like you, David.
Oh,
Screw you.
Shots
Well, then that's
fired.
a second, because you said Dante first. So-
That's true. That is true.
I did say Dante first, but the listeners can't see this, but I'm pointing aggressively at him through a camera.
And I am a prime David or whatever you called it, so I don't care.
That's true.
That's true.
So-
One of the inner circle Davids. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, to get back to this album, I have a few more things to say before we start. All songs on here are written and produced by Tyler the Creator, and I'm not going to be going in depth on credits this week because we have a lot to talk about, and I know we're going to be here for a long time. And then this album is hosted by DJ Drama,
Which you love.
It's mixed by Neil H. Pogue, and it's mastered by Mike Bozzi, who is a connection. He mastered SZA's album Control that we did on this podcast. So that was kind of
that's
fun.
true.
That's cool.
And then I have to tell you, David, your favorite song will either be, it will be one of Sweet or I Thought You Wanted to Dance, but you won't like the other one.
That's a
And
good guess.
you will not be able to rate the combined song highly. Therefore, your favorite by default will be Rise. And Sep, I wrote down, I am not choosing a favorite for you. I think you like all of these equally.
I do not
This
like
is
all of these
before I heard your
equally.
spiel.
I do not like all these
That's
equally.
Okay.
interesting.
I love every single one of these, but there is 3 to 4 songs on here that I feel very strongly about. I don't know if you're interested. Do you want to take a look at this track list and pick out 3 or 4 that you think I feel the most strongly about? Because I'm curious.
Mama Talk, Blessed, and Everything Must Go, which don't technically count as songs because they're interludes, but we'll talk about that later.
I'm not kidding. Dude, I'm not. You listed the only songs that I have not favorited on this album.
Wait, seriously?
I have every single song. The only one that I also have left off is Boyfriend Girlfriend because
That's
it's a
crazy.
demo. But yeah, that song I do like it. Honestly, that one should be favorited. But I'm not kidding. Mama Talk, Blessed, and Everything Must Go are all unfavorited. Can I do a screenshot while we're like doing this or something? I need to like send this to you because I feel like you wouldn't believe me.
I believe you. I for the record, I do believe you.
Because that was a crazy poll.
I looked at the 3 that I didn't give a score to because they're not like actual songs. They're just interludes.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes
So-
sense. I feel like Blessed is sort of a song,
That's true. Yeah.
but seriously, pick like at least 3 songs or 2 songs that you think I would ride or die on this album.
I don't know what like you go to this album for though. Like what's the emotion that you're feeling? Because there's so many songs on here that are like very different. Like I could
Feeling good.
I will tell you my favorite later, but I can't pick one. There's too many as well.
Yeah.
The first song that I thought of was Lemonhead, and then I thought Lumberjack, but I don't know either one of those.
Lumberjack is actually on the lower end.
Oh, we'll talk about it. We got to start with
we will talk about
track
it.
number 1, Sir Baudelaire. This one is featuring DJ Drama. Sepp knows how I feel about DJ Drama. We've talked about this.
You love him.
And I said,
Big
my
fan.
apologies to
Big fan.
DJ Drama, but I need you to shut up. And I know that this is the reason that Sepp chose this album specifically, because I said that I hate listening to DJ Drama scream on songs and it pisses me off. And it gets really old, especially when there's 24 of them, which is, I think, why he chose the extended version, but I don't know for sure. Anyway, I did say that I liked the beat on this one. I feel like it's a vibe. This one is a 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
What about you, David?
First of all, I do have to shout out the lyric Dick Lotion, because you have to. I want to say I feel like I see a connection to some of the styles of rap that we've listened to that feel more interesting, which I kind of said before, that feel more interesting to me than quote unquote more typical stuff, especially the stuff we've listened to from the 90s or like Kendrick Lamar. Not saying that they are alike. I'm just saying there's more to it, which I do really like. It does feel kind of amorphous to me. Like it's hard for me to get into it, but it's still a 3 because I don't hate it. It's not for me, but I still see the artistry, and I prefer this to a lot of other rap that I've listened to. And we will see. I will score stuff higher than this.
I do want to say one thing about that, David, which I noticed when listening to this album. I feel like it's not mixed well, which I never really noticed. And comparing it to other Tyler albums, it just feels like this one is lacking some of the dynamics of the other ones. And it's really weird because I never really noticed that.
I did have that issue come up another once or twice, or another 1 or 2 times. So I could see that being right.
Okay. Brandon, put a sound effect in.
Oh,
I want a sound effect here. Bam, bam, bam. Fun fact time. This is every time I ask you to put a sound effect in, I want you to throw a little sound effect in there. Fun fact number 1. So this album was actually originally supposed to be a mixtape, like a legitimate mixtape, because it is a DJ Drama mixtape.
I believe it.
But it was all verses that were recorded over different beats from different artists. And then he realized the potential of all of these songs and remixed them with his own original beats, which is maybe why this album feels very like
interesting,
messy. The song Wilshire, you will hear that that's like a very hard sentence to say. But it's this song that has like a lot of static behind it, and it becomes more apparent when somebody points it out to you, but it's very staticky and like clicky. There's other songs that you can also kind of hear like errors in the production with, but I think that is part of its charm. I think that's what makes it so cool. And then throw the sound effect. Bam, bam, bam. Fun fact number 2, every Tyler album has a character to it, such as Igor is obviously Igor, Goblin is Goblin, Wolf Haley for Wolf. This album is the first one that I noticed doesn't have the character as the titular name of the album, and rather it has a different name to it. But the opening song is like what he does now for like his more recent albums. You see the same thing where like Don't Tap the Glass has Big Poe and Chromacopia has Saint Chroma. This album has Sir Baudelaire. So Tyler goes by Sir Tyler Baudelaire as his sort of like character, and it's a lot of braggadocio and a lot of like flexing on people, which is something you notice through the album a lot, which is what I like about this album, because that's like the original concept of hip hop, was for people to talk about like the positive things in their life and celebrate the good so that they remember like what to like cherish in their lives. And I think this album does a very good job of that and feels like one of the purest rap albums I've ever listened to. And then throwing DJ Drama on there is just like a cherry on top for me, because he is such a key thing. He's like a rite of passage almost to like some people, where like he's not everyone has a DJ Drama album, but like Childish Gambino has one. Most people don't know that.
I mean, the Gangsta Grills series is like, that's huge. Mm-hmm. That like puts a lot of artists on.
Exactly. I think it's a fun opening to the album. I think whenever I listen to this, it just locks me into like listening to the album. So I think that's good. I don't think it's a full song in a way, but it is like a good opener. I like when openers of albums are like not a full song, but also aren't just an opener and are like this weird mishmash of the two. And this is one of my favorites, but not my favorite from Tyler, surprisingly, despite this being my favorite album of all time.
Throw a number at me.
Let's go 6.
And for reference, we're on a scale of 5 and you're on a scale of 10. Just so the audience doesn't get mixed up.
If I had it my way, we would be doing a scale of 0 to 100 because I like that way better. But it's...
You guys do a
crazy.
scale of 1 through 6?
No, we do 1 through
through
5.
5.
Well, 0.5
I don't know
through
why
5.
we chose that. We kind of just...
Because that's what Rate Your Music is, unfortunately.
Oh, and Letterboxd.
Okay, wait, no. I'll redo mine then. I'm going to give this a...
You can do whatever you want.
2.7. No, I want to do this for the fans. Let's go 2.7.
2.7.
2.7 out of 5.
I like that.
Yeah. And this is a 4 out of 5 when discussing any other like types of music, but just specifically this album, it's a 2.7 out of 5 for this album.
That's fair. I believe, I mean, when you said this is your favorite album, I assumed this would be quite high.
This is glaze to the max.
Track number 2, Corso. I said, if this song had any sort of hook, it would be my favorite on here. But instead we have DJ Drama yelling and being generally annoying. I really love the verses in this one, but there's not that thing that makes it super memorable to me. And I feel like part of that can be explained with what you just said, where it's like this was rapped over a different beat originally. That was just the one thing that I was missing here. And when I like a Tyler song, it's like there's that big chorus that like exclaims something. And I feel like those are my favorite songs that I always go back to because I want that big moment. And, you know, I'm a chorus writer mostly. That's like what I always start with. And that's the most important part to me. I love a good verse, but I missed the hook on this song, unfortunately. But this one is a 2.5. I did think it was good, but unfortunately my scores will be kind of low because DJ Drama did get on my nerves. So...
I mean, I don't have much to say, to be honest, about this specific song. It did also kind of feel like disorienting to me, like the last song, which I think goes to what you were talking about, Brandon. But it's still a 3 because I think they still do work. Again, it might not be for me, but it still does work. So that's why it's a 3. I will say I was pretty consistent with this album, aside from a few little spots.
We're locked into a Kesha effect here.
Yes, which I will say did go strong.
Nice.
That was definitely there.
I will definitely say that at some point as well.
Yeah.
I think the song has a little bit of that Kesha effect to it, where Corso sometimes does blend in for me with Lemonhead and Sir Baudelaire. I think those 3 songs are kind of just like in my mind the start of the album. I can kind of also throw Lumberjack in there a little bit as well. What's Your Name feels very out of place, I will say, but we'll get to that when we get to that. But Corso I like for the purpose that it feels like I'm swinging back and forth dancing to it, and that might just be the music video for it talking because I love the color of the music video. So this song particularly feels dark blue to me. I don't know if that makes any logical sense to people listening, but it has a dark blue color to it.
I like that.
And because of that, I really, it gives it a formal feeling, I think. So I do like it a lot. It is not my favorite on the album. That's going to be a while down. It's actually on the lower half. But I would give this a 3.8 to 4.
Nice.
This is a good song. I really like it.
Track number 3, Lemonhead featuring 4-2 Doug. Something I've noticed listening to this and the last song is that the vocals are poorly mixed. This is where I said that note. I feel like the vocals are super low when compared to the beat, and it's almost hard to hear sometimes. I mean, all of this stuff is being explained to me now, and I'm understanding why it is. I actually wrote down on my note, I don't remember this happening on any other Tyler album I've listened to. I said that once again, I wish this song had a hook, but we're staying pretty consistent. This is a 2.5. I think this is a pretty good one.
I am also staying consistent, to be honest. And ironically, to me, this felt more focused than the last 2 songs. I don't know what changed, but something did. It's still a 3, but it's like a higher 3. It definitely works a lot better for me than the last 2 songs. And I like the title.
I know. I think this is one of the songs that Brandon said would be one of my favorites.
Yes.
This song for me is a 3.4, I would say. I like it.
Wow.
I don't know. No, not a 3.4. And this might also be a 3.8 to 4, same as Corso. I'm incredibly biased, of course.
That's
I'm aware
okay.
of that,
It's
but
your album.
I like... I think Lemonhead is a very fun song. It has that Frank Ocean little thing at the end, where he's talking about the Ai Weiwei Bowl or whatever. He's not on this album. I'm not the biggest Frank Ocean fan. I have a friend named Max who loves grifters, and he says that Frank Ocean is a grifter in a lot of ways. There's a famous story about how he tricked his label into like getting the rights to his album Blonde so that he could make a shit ton of money by releasing this like other album that's only on Apple Music and is good in its own ways. But I think it is a generational grift, but I also think he grifts his fans a lot.
Yeah,
and
Coachella performance.
the Coachella performance, the merch he sells being in the thousands, him releasing special versions of the vinyl on black vinyls that are not like limited edition in any way, and yet still charging $60 to $70 for them with limited releases. I don't think the guy is super kind to his fans. And if you're a grifter who's grifting the people who love you, then you're not grifting to like stick it to the man. You're grifting for the love of grifting, and that is morally gray. So I'm not the biggest Frank Ocean fan. I'm glad this is his only footnote on the album in a way. But the actual song itself, I think, has production issues, but it's also loud and has horns. And I love horns. I love horns on video game soundtracks. I love horns on hip hop. I love horns in any context. I think they're a good time. One of my favorite video game soundtracks is the Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald line of Pokemon games, and those are full of horns. And I love that I can always tell what generation of Pokemon is from those horns. And this album does have horns often. So I think that might be one of the reasons contributing to me liking this album so much. But this is the first one that really leans into that horn motif. So I really like it for that. Another thing about Lemonhead that I really like is there's a line where he says, and he drills shit, got the tool out. It's the Wolfgang Brooklyn Zoo out. And then he makes a little sound. But when he says tool out, it really sounds like Tua. And then he makes the spitting sound. And ever since the Hawk Tua incident, that's all I ever think about.
Tracks.
I'm going to be honest with you. I also had that thought, but then I didn't write it down because I figured you would bring it up.
Fantastic.
Oh, man.
Yes. Anyway, I'm so sorry. Get back to the next
track
song.
number 4, What's Your Name, featuring Young Boy Never Broke Again and Ty Dolla $ign, who is, of course, a connection to the S.G. Lewis and Big Sean albums that we've done.
S.G. Lewis.
And I wrote about this song. I don't know. It's fine, but I'd much rather listen to any of the songs that come before it on the album. And my apologies, but I am not a fan of NBA Youngboy. He just is kind of too much for me. Him and NLE Choppa are just like, I can't do it sometimes. It's just like too much energy almost. This one is a 2.
To me, those two guys are the same guy.
You want to know something funny, Brandon?
This is your favorite?
I can't decide. I didn't decide, but this is one of 2 potential favorites because this is a 3.5. I feel like this song just really worked for me. In a lot of ways, it really reminded me of 90s rap. Maybe that's why, because that's like the rap that I've gotten into more. I also don't have much to say. I feel like it was just the production. I don't know. It just worked for me. It got me invested, and everyone knows that's what I look for mainly in a song is the production. So it's a 3.5. I will say we're splitting again, where you're rating stuff lower and I'm rating stuff higher.
That's okay.
But I mean, everyone expects that at this point.
There's a reason I chose your favorite song on here. I'll tell you that.
I see.
For me, What's Your Name is an interesting case because of the fact that Young Boy Never Broke Again is on it. I also am not the biggest fan of him. I think he and NLE Choppa do fall into the same category in my brain. I can somewhat barely distinguish the 2 artists, but that's mostly because I haven't listened to much of their music. But I think Tyler has this unique trait of finding artists who you're like, no way they'd be good on like one of these songs. No way they're that good. And then you listen to them and it's one of their best performances. I think Playboy Cardi on Igor is an excellent example of that because Playboy Cardi is, in my opinion, trash and also doesn't respect his fans. He has good songs. But he also hit his pregnant wife. So let's not split hairs. But Tyler finds a way to find artists who are very popular but aren't very good and make them be very good. And I think NBA Youngboy is an example of that on this song. I also really like the wordplay in this song, specifically because What's Your Name has a line where he says, I'll teach you how to exfoliate. That's not exactly how he says it, but he says something about exfoliating. And whenever he performs it on stage, he does a little masturbating motion and then an ejaculating motion. So he's teaching you how to exfoliate by giving you a facial. And I just think that's like a fun thing that you wouldn't get unless you were at one of the concerts or watched one of the recordings. And I think that's fun that he like considers stuff like that for like the people who listen to the album a lot, somewhat like me. This song to me feels pink. Lemonhead, I didn't say, but feels yellow, obviously. But this album feels like a rainbow to me, if that wasn't clear, which is part of my love for it. This song feels like a flower garden or something, just like sticking in the middle of the album, because it feels very different from everything else on the album. It is on theme a little bit, but it is kind of a sore thumb. But I've come to appreciate it for that. That might be cope because this is my favorite album and I need to keep it that way. It might be other stuff as well. I think on its own, it's fantastic. It's a 4.3. But as far as contributing to this album, it's a 3.5.
Interesting.
So
splitting
do with that what you will.
We have the same score
kind
now.
of nonsense, but in my head, that makes sense.
I get it too, for what it's worth. Track number 5, Lumberjack. We have a credit here. RZA is credited as a writer from a sample, and he actually produced on Watch the Throne, which we listened to. When we were listening to this album, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this song. And it's one of the ones that sticks in my head the most. I thought this was way more popular than it is. I don't know why it isn't, because I do think that this one is actually quite good. I said, it's a vibe, but DJ Drama, man. I gave this one a 3. If DJ Drama wasn't here, it would be a 3.5.
After like a high things.
This is to be expected.
Yeah, no, this is to be expected. It's, I feel like a more modern style, and I'm just not interested in this at all, to be honest. It's a 2.5. It just kind of feels flat. I will say, I feel like I rarely have much to say about rap. Like, it's harder for me to talk about just because I don't have the vocabulary to describe it.
I think that's fine. I also didn't go super deep into like explaining bars and stuff because I know we have Sep here, and this is what I thought at the time was one of your favorite albums. Now I know it is, in fact, your favorite album of all time. And I would like to turn the floor over to you to speak about it.
So I like the song. If you asked me a year ago, I'd probably give this a 1. Which sounds crazy. I should also say, I think in my head, all of these ratings add 5 to them, and that's what it would be out of 10. So like a 1 is actually like a 6 out of 10. However, this song's grown on me a lot recently. But the reason I didn't like it initially is that when this album rollout first began, this was one of the first songs that he dropped as a single, which is why I believe you thought it was so popular and then were shocked to find out it wasn't.
Yeah.
I think people got burnt down on it by listening to it way too much because of how obsessive they can be with Tyler. So when the album came out, it fell down to the bottom. And that happens a lot. That's specifically with Tyler fans. I think Chromacopia, for me personally, has like one of the earlier songs that released, Paranoid. That one, or I guess Noid. That one, I don't go back to it that much. Same thing here. I didn't really go back to it much, but then I went back and I listened to it again and again recently, and I was like, you know what? I really do like the song. It's a lot of fun. The music video is super cool. It's just like showing this like Dr. Seuss ass house that he lives in, which I believe is his real house. It just looks very cool.
I was gonna bring that up, but I couldn't remember if it was for this song because I have a vivid memory of watching this music video for some reason. I don't watch music videos, but I remember watching it because somebody had told me at the time that it was really cool, and I thought it was.
I feel like we got to just start watching music videos more for the podcast.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be fun.
I think music videos are a key part of albums sometimes, and this album is actually a big part of that. So I wish I just said something before that you guys should watch all the music videos for this, because this album has a very distinct visual style, and it has like a fun little gimmick with all of its music videos on like how they end specifically, which I won't spoil for you guys. But this song is like the first thing that really kicked off that visual style. And I think that is also part of why I like this album, because I can really picture it. One fun thing is during live shows for this song, he starts it as a stand-up bit, which I think is super interesting, where he tells a story about how he pulled up in his black Royce and an old white lady saw him and was like, you shouldn't be driving that car. And she was like being super judgmental. And then he just goes right into the song from there. So I think that's really fun. I think the song has a hook.
It does.
Which is why I'm sure Brandon likes it.
True.
I also like the hook. I think it's a very fun hook. Not one I would particularly sing myself because I feel weird
Right.
singing it. But it's a good time. I think present day, I would give this a 2.7.
Track number 6, Hot Wind Blows, featuring Lil Wayne, who's of course a connection from Ariana Grande and Big Sean. This specific intro of this song is the one thing that I thought of when you mentioned this album. I always remember it because we are on a yacht in Switzerland. And I even when I sent the email tonight, I said we are on a yacht in Switzerland because this is the thing that I think of most from this album. I don't really remember this song at all, and I forgot that Lil Wayne was on it. I just remember DJ Drama screaming at the beginning of it, maybe because I listened to Lumberjack and then it just go into this song right after, and that just stuck in my head. But I said Wayne's verse is great, and it's kind of a vibe. And what a surprise I could go without the DJ Drama intro and outro. This one is a 2.5.
Funny thing, when you sent the email, we on a boat in Switzerland, come see, and then you put the link, when you emailed that to us, it went straight into my junk folder.
Good.
And
I was hoping
it really
it would.
puts in my head, like, that is such a spammy thing to like say to somebody, follow by the link. So I completely understand why it got sent to my spam folder.
I mean, I don't have anything much to say. I don't mind the song. It's still a 3. I'm gonna be consistent for a while, and then I'm gonna be consistent with another score for a while, and then go back to being consistent with 3s. So it's just a very consistent day. I don't have much to add.
Put a sound effect in, Brandon. Whoa, fun fact time. On the vinyl for this album, Lil Wayne is actually not credited by his own name. He is instead credited as Tunchi, which is what he calls himself often. But I remember when I first got the vinyl for this album, I was going through the features. And I was like, Lil Wayne's not on here. I went through like 5 different times just looking for the word Lil. And then I saw it was Tunchi. I'm like, he's so fucking corny. Because I just know for a fact he asked Tyler to make sure it was like that on the vinyl. Because it's not like that on streaming for a very clear reason. I think Hot Wind Blows as a title is really cool. I think there's some songs on this album, like Sweet, I Thought You Wanted to Dance, Rise with an exclamation point, that are almost poetic. Wharf Talk is another one. Dogtooth are like a weird combination of words that really make you feel something. And whenever it is a warm California day over here, sorry, Brandon, whenever it's a warm California day, I always think this song. It just like pops into my head because I'm like, hot winds blowing. Today was cold.
Wasn't it? It was cold. Yeah, I was gonna say it was. Yeah, pretty cold today.
Yeah, it was raining.
It reminded me of
in Pasadena,
Wisconsin.
It was like 30 something here today. I'm sure it didn't.
Oh,
spiritually,
that's fine.
Yeah,
I do like the song a lot. I think it has a lot of fun rapping on it. I think Lil Wayne's verse is actually quite enjoyable once you like pay attention to it. But it's not the best on this album. However, it's grown on me a lot. I think during live shows specifically, this is a very fun song to listen to. And it just genuinely feels like hot wind blowing on your face whenever I listen to it. And for that, I got to give it like a 3.4 because that's pretty cool. I think that's pretty cool that the song can make me feel that way.
Track number 7. I don't want to say this. Massa.
Why not?
Well, I'm pretty sure you know why. I don't have much to say about this song. His bars are great. The beat is forgettable. DJ Drama yells on it. It's definitely a song on Call Me If You Get Lost. And this song is the start of the Kesha effect for me. And it lasts for quite a while until we kind of get to my favorite song. This one is a 2.5.
The Kesha effect was like popping in and out for me for sure at this point. This song did feel very similar to the opening songs, and because of that, it actually has the same exact score, 3.
Sound effect, throw it in. Boom, boom, boom. Massa is actually a term from slavery.
Correct. That's why I did not want to say
Oh,
it.
gee, I wonder
Yes.
where that came
As the
from.
only white person here, it feels even worse.
Yeah, you should feel bad.
I'm also technically white, but you have blonde hair. So
I'm also technically white. Like, you
That's
got
true,
two
we're all
blazers
technically
here, but
white.
we're like the whitest kind.
No comment.
That's a
I
good
guess
point.
you wanted that for some reason. Weird. Very odd. I like this song. I think this is not a song that I listen to a lot, but I do really like some of the lyrics here. I think it's just like a good way of like showing confidence. I think the wash my hands before I piss lyrics specifically was one that I heard the first time and I was like, damn. Washing his hands before you piss. Like, he really respects himself. And then I sat there thinking about it. I was like, why don't we wash our hands before we piss? Because like
True.
you're touching yourself down there with all the germs of outside. That's super gross. We should be washing our hands before we piss. I know he's saying that to say he has respect for himself and he like sees himself higher than most people see themselves, but I think we should all just start doing that.
That is a great point.
And I sometimes try to. I don't. It's not an active thing. But sometimes I think about the song when I'm going to the bathroom. I'm like, shit, I'm gonna wash my hands before I piss because I think that's important. I also think it's cool that at the BET Awards, Tyler was brought out to do a song when this album came out, and instead of picking one of the hits or one of the really popular songs, he performed this on stage. And obviously the BET Awards make sense why you would pick this song. But also, I think that's like a brave choice that more artists should do of doing their B-sides, the songs that aren't the most popular on the album, and like trying to promote those. Because I know for a fact that like after that performance, the streams for the song went up and more people started listening to it. And I think artists should be doing that, where like he was lifting up the whole album instead of trying to get all of his streams on the one song that was performing the best. I understand the drawbacks of that method, but I think it's cool that he does that. There's a couple other artists who also do this. I have much respect for them. So I think that's very cool. I am going to give this song a 3.
Track number 8, Run It Up, featuring Tizo Touchdown. This song does nothing for me and is way too long to only have one verse. The beat is kind of cool, though, when it gets started, and it reminded me of Pharrell, honestly. This one, however, is a 2. It's whatever. It's just a skip for me.
It just, this song feels kind of all over the place for me. When the beat comes in, it does finally kind of like come together more, but I just don't think it works that well. I don't know. It's just a weaker song in my opinion. It's a 2.5. Kind of what I said before. It's not cohesive enough, at least in the first part.
Horns.
I wanted more.
I love this song. Okay, now here's the thing. I'm not going to fault you guys for not liking the song right away, because for the first like 1 to 2 years that this album was out, I didn't give a shit about this song. I think the whole Kesha effect is pretty prevalent in this album, but I think it's broken up into parts where there's like a song where like this song's between these two Kesha effects and it breaks it up.
True.
And I like to think of that as like just this one chunk of songs that like all flow together and have interconnectivity. And I think Massa into Run It Up into Manifesto transition all perfectly together into Sweet I Thought You Want to Dance. But Run It Up to me is the pack it up song. It's the let's leave song. I went to his tour, I believe, on like one of the later legs. I saw it in San Diego with my friend David Flores.
Another
the
David.
GOAT David. No offense, David. I've known him for like over a decade.
That's okay.
I have to call him the GOAT David. But Run It Up was the last song he played during his tour, at least for the show that I saw. And I remember listening to it and being like, okay, I think I'm ready to go. But also, what a good way to end a tour or end a show, you know, with this song. And I had a blast. And then I was going back to LA and I listened to the song again. And I was like, this is like really good. And now I end a lot of my curated playlists with this song. And it's grown a very special place in my heart. This is maybe the highest score I've given on the album so far. It is a 4.3. I think it's wonderful. I think the horns are great. I think it's slow and relaxing. I think the position of the album that it's in is very wrong. I think this should have been at the end of the original album, but I think Run It Up is like really good.
Track number 9, Manifesto, featuring Domo Genesis.
Damo.
I wrote down one very short thing. I loved his verse on this, but as a whole, this song is just kind of forgettable to me. It's a 2.5. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just not one that I'm going to remember from the album.
This style just didn't really work for me. I wasn't a big fan of the production. But here you will see the first time where I'm kind of consistent with another score, because this is a 2.5. I did write Damn What a Way to Open the song. That was fun. But yeah, this is a 2.5. I will say, not to spoil things, but we will go back to some higher scores soon. And I am going to have some more stuff to say with the next song.
I picked it as your favorite.
Yeah, we're going to talk about it.
So I love the song. I think a lot of older Tyler fans will probably love it a lot more than I do. I'm not the biggest fan of Tyler's older stuff, not because it's problematic or anything. I just don't like click with it or relate with it a lot. I do think it's interesting that he has some like really messed up songs, but they're supposed to represent like intrusive thoughts, because growing up, I think everyone has intrusive thoughts, and nobody ever tells you like, hey, that's okay. You don't actually think those things. You're not a bad person. And I think a lot of people become bad people because they hear those thoughts in their head and they're like, oh my God, I must be a bad person. And then they just lean into it. So I think Tyler's older stuff is very important. I think this song addresses that older stuff while also sounding like that older stuff, which is why I like it so much. The lyrics are fun. I like that when they say what the fuck, there's people on the back who are also going what the fuck, but with different pitches and different voices. I like that he talks directly to the fans and is like addressing like, hey, just because I'm not like posting something on my Instagram story doesn't mean that I'm not supporting some movement going on. There's other ways to like support things, and like just like breaking that performative nature. That is important because people need to talk about things, which I think is a flaw of this, where it's like, yeah, it's still important to talk about that kind of stuff, even if you don't like to. But I don't think people should be attacked for being like a little bit silent and still addressing things in their own way. I think complete silence is bad, depending on how bad the things are. But I do think that a lot of people get criticized for not like dedicating their entire careers to it. This song is a lot of fun though. I love Damogenesis on this because obviously he's also very like from Tyler's older days. I would give this song 3.1.
Track number 10, Sweet / I Thought You Wanted to Dance, featuring Brent Faiyaz and Fana Hughes. Both songs I rated on here are 1.5s, unfortunately. The music in both is very nice. I do not like the vocals, though, and I feel like the songs are very similar, and it's just very long to kind of have that same thing go on. So I gave this combined song a 1.5, and I said that David would like one of these, but not the other, and I didn't choose which one that was. So,
Well, I'm going to kind of split this up in half. For Sweet, I did feel much stronger, or not much stronger, but I felt stronger than Manifesto. And I thought that there was a lot of really interesting things going on with it. And there were those really interesting switch ups too. I do think it's too long, and that's not even me just talking about the combined song. I think Sweet itself is just too long by itself. And that's why it's a 3. Going into the second half, I actually liked it even more. It still felt long, but honestly, it was a bop. Like it really worked for me. It still annoys me that they're together. That will always annoy me about combined songs. I still don't understand why they do it. I mean, I get why they would do it like when it was on a vinyl, but in this age, like why? Especially when, you know, you're looking at the track list and you see that there are 2 songs in this one track. Like, what's the point? But that's just my own thing. But if you split up the 2 and made I Thought You Want a little bit shorter, like that would probably be my favorite. As it is, Sweet is a 3 and I Thought You Want is a 3.5. That's how I would split it up. I don't know what they are combined though. Maybe a 3.25, I guess.
this is why I didn't pick, because I was going to pick that you liked Sweet more. But I was just like, it's one of them. I know that.
You knew that
but
I was going to like one of them. And honestly, I could see it like switching, you know, going back and forth or something like that. So you never know.
Do a little sound effect, Brandon. Throw in a sound effect. I don't even know if you're going to do a sound effect. I hope you
I'll
don't.
do a sound effect and you at the same time.
Fantastic. That's great. This is a fun fact for you because Sweet / I Thought You Want to Dance is actually a part of a sort of thing that Tyler does on all of his albums, where the 10th track on every single one of his albums, except for Chromacopia and a little bit of Don't Tap the Glass, is a dual song. It's a thing that he normally does. Every single album has one. There's one where it's 3 songs all in one altogether. But I think the reason this song, I can see why some people would hate it.
I absolutely fucking hate
It's terrible
that.
for playlists.
It is terrible for playlists, but I will say I do like it. I just, we talked about this a little bit with the System of a Down album, because they have a hidden track at the end of it that they actually split up into a separate track on streaming, which I think is the correct way to do it on streaming. But I do
That I like.
I understand that most people listen to music on streaming and you want it to appear as that one track together. So like, I see both sides of the argument, because as an artist, like I want, like if a song is meant to be together, it's meant to be together, and I don't want to break it up, you know? So like, Yeah, I see that for sure. But it does suck when one of the songs is good and the other one isn't, which has happened to me a lot, unfortunately.
That is unfortunately a drawback.
If there was a way to make that an option so you could choose if they're together or not, I feel like that would maybe be the best like middle ground.
I mean, release them both as a single outside of the album too, and then you can choose.
Or that, yeah.
I think there's a lot of artistry in doing something like that, which sounds pretentious as fuck, and it is super pretentious.
No, I
But
agree.
yeah, I think it's a very intentional thing to do here. I think these two songs share a lot in common because one of them is like kind of the start of like a relationship where it's like very secretive and you have to do all of that kind of stuff. And the second is how he's left after that relationship's fallen apart, like longing for more. I think both of these songs are very good in my opinion. This is going to be the next highest rating with a 4.5. Because I really like this. I think it's like a good like lock in and listen to the song for 6-7 minutes.
6-7?
6-7.
But no. I didn't do the hand gesture or anything, by
Yeah,
the
you
way,
did.
for people
It's okay.
listening. No, I didn't. Okay. But I think this song's really good. Also, fun fact number two on this song specifically. If you listen to Flower Boy, on the song Ain't Got Time, the very end of the song, there's this little like raspy, like radio-y sounding song that plays, and it actually is this song,
Whoa, really?
which is really
That's
interesting.
insane.
Yeah.
I love I Ain't Got Time. That's probably one of my favorite songs by him. So that's insane. I never noticed that.
I noticed that, and then I started listening to like a bunch of other stuff, and I realized he does that sometimes. There's a couple of other songs, I can't like place any of them right now, but there's like at least one other example where he's teased a future song on an earlier album. And I also think it's cool that I Ain't Got Time is 2 albums back. So it's not like this was teased on the previous album. This was something he had in the works for the longest time. Actually, you know what? Fun fact number 3.
Whoa.
What? 3 fun facts back to back to back. This album was made at the same time as Chromacopia was,
Oh.
Wow.
which is very shocking and very interesting, which means that he just like got in like a very creative space for like 2 years, I guess, and made some of his best music ever, because Chromacopia is also one of my other top 3 Tyler the Creator albums. For anybody who's curious, it's Call Me If You Get Lost, Don't Tap the Glass, Chromacopia,
Oh.
Flower Boy, then Igor at 5, and then we go Wolf, Cherry Bomb, Goblin Bastard.
Interesting. I have not listened to anything before Flower Boy, but I've heard all of the albums post that.
You don't
So,
need to, and people will get upset.
That's kind of
at
what I
hearing that.
learned. Yeah.
But it's interesting because I think you kind of need to understand where he's like coming with a lot of stuff, because this is a guy who like made very edgy music in his past, and he is actively like regretting it. There's a song like later on, like we'll hear, where he's like, this isn't something I need to apologize for. I've already shown my growth, and I can move past that without having to directly apologize and like put myself on public display for you guys. I think people who beg an artist to apologize can be a little bit crazy, depending on what it is specifically. If it's like something forgivable, like if it's something horrible, I don't even care about an apology, because like, go fuck yourself, you're dead to me. But if it's something that you could apologize for, you don't need to if you're showing that growth. And I think Tyler as an artist is one of those people who has shown the most growth in those regards, in terms of the type of person he is now compared to who he was back then. And it shows that some people just like to attach onto that stuff, make other people feel miserable. And I think that's annoying and stupid. And I think people should grow up. But yeah, I like the song a lot. I think it's fantastic. I'd give it like 4.3 or something like that. I really like it.
Track number 11 is Mama Talk. I wrote nothing about this and didn't score it.
Oh. Right, because now I remember that's what we do before. I did score it just for the hell of it. I know it's not technically a song. I just want to say, typically, I hate these things because I don't get why. Like, I get it, but I also don't kind of get it. This one I actually kind of enjoyed because it was just kind of fun and quirky. It's a 3. That's not really an official score because this is not really a song, but it surprised me. I was like, yeah, why not? Why not have this here? So kudos to Tyler the Creator.
It is fun, and it's my favorite of the 3 songs that I didn't give a rating to. which kind of are songs,
Yes,
more interludes.
I do agree with that.
It is also my favorite of those three unrated songs. My one thought is like, this makes sense. Like hearing Tyler's mom talk, I'm like, oh, no wonder he's the way he is. And he's like so proud of himself and like confident and everything. Like that's awesome to have a mom like that. And like, I don't know. I think it's a fun listen and it gives you a very good insight on who the artist is. Not something that you would ever re-listen to. But whenever I listen to the album, I never skip this. There's no point to skip any song on an album re-listening unless it's downright horrible, downright dog shit. And as this being one of my favorite albums of all time, I'm not going to skip it. Come on.
Track number 12, Rise, ! Featuring Daisy World. This song was co-produced with Jamie XX. And I can't say anything else about this song other than it's a Kesha effect, and I didn't really care for this one. This is a 1.5.
It's interesting that this song is led into by Mama, because I feel like typically you'll have like a song leading into another song, but I feel like I haven't heard that many interludes that lead into a song. Ultimately, it's fine. It's kind of like I'm back with the threes right now. I feel the same way about this song the way I have about most songs on the album. The Kesha effect was definitely very strong though, but I do prefer the style, so we're back at a 3.
I also feel the Kesha effect strong with this. It feels like this song and Mama Talk kind of blended together. Like they're almost one song. I don't know how else to describe it. I like this song. I don't think it's too crazy. It's like a 2.4, 2.8. Nah, I'd go lower. I go like, it's a 2. It's nothing super special. Nothing too crazy. Daisy World is a cool artist. One of my roommates worked with her. So that's pretty cool. I don't know if that counts as a fun fact. Do like a little sad fun fact sound like or something there. But do it before I said to do it. But leave this part in. I don't know. I think it's a fun song. It's nothing too crazy, but nothing that like I actively go back to and love. So yeah.
Track number 13, Blessed. I got nothing.
I guess I'll say something. It's not really for me. It's a 2.5. I still rated it. I do think it's stupid that there's an interlude, then a song, then another interlude. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't like that. So that's what I'll throw out.
I agree with that. I think this album, I've already alluded to it a little bit. It's a little bit mixed around there a bit. I think there's some songs that should end the album, like Run It Up. I think there's some songs that should be at the beginning. I also do recognize that this is a mixtape, and as mixtapes go, they are kind of just random songs thrown together. So the fact that these even have like a through line in terms of concept is a positive, but obviously not like a requirement for a mixtape. But I do think this song, in quotes, this song kind of does capture the feeling of the album in terms of braggadocio and celebrating yourself. I hear this. I'm like, that's nice for him. That's good for him. I'm glad he's so happy about everything. It sucks that his hair won't grow. I guess he has to like keep a short haircut, but the rest of it's pretty fun. Like it's just a nice reminder of what you can achieve through the arts
and what we're all hoping to achieve.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. I want a Converse. I want a Converse with my fucking name on it. Are you kidding me?
Hell yeah.
I would wear those all the time. But we're about to go into one of my favorite songs on the album.
Ooh, track number 14, Juggernaut, featuring Lil Uzi Vert and Pharrell Williams. Of course, Pharrell Williams is a connection to Watch the Throne and to Pimp a Butterfly. And I said that there are great verses on this song, but for some reason it doesn't fully come together. It might be because it takes forever to get to the chorus. I don't remember how many verses. I feel like there's 2 verses before we get to the chorus. And I've said this before in this episode. I like the chorus, and I wish the chorus happened right away. And then we got into the verses. That's my only complaint with this one. It's a 2.5, and it would be a 3 if there was a chorus there. And of course, DJ Drama, I'm a broken record at this point.
It's at this point where I was reaching the end of my rope because this album is too goddamn long. And it's crazy because there were 10 songs left after this song. So I was looking like forward in the track list and I was like, what the hell is going on? It's way too long. What did I get? It's the extended like edition.
Deluxe, yeah.
It makes sense. It's the deluxe edition. Same thing, but I was kind of going crazy. This song, it's a 2.5. It does not work that well for me. right now, I will say, not to spoil things, but we are going to have a generational run of one score. We'll see what it is. You'll be able to tell after the next song.
I love Juggernaut. I think the music video for this thing is super fun. If you haven't seen it, it's him standing on top of like a Rolls Royce, but it's got big ass monster truck wheels. And he's like doing this super weird dance, but he's also pulling the truck himself at the same time. And I think that's super fun. And then once you get into that second half of the song, it's him just like Fortnite falling out of the sky, screaming as his hat like flies off, and he's just screaming into the camera, like plummeting towards the earth. I think that's the funniest visual. I love Pharrell being on the song because Pharrell is obviously Tyler's like biggest influence, I would say.
You can hear it, I think.
Yes, you can very clearly hear it. I think NERD is one of my personal favorites. That's Pharrell's band. So anything Pharrell Williams, I love. This song is no exception. This was before my Pharrell Williams love, though. I just liked how it sounded. I thought it was like a fun, good time. I love the, hey, Miss Parker. And then DJ Drama going, wait. Just really funny. I think that's great. I think that like adds a lot to like the tone of the song, and it just like puts me in a good mood. I like the verses. I don't know if there's anything else I can really like say about that. I just think like the verses are fun. I like how disjointed the song feels for whatever reason. I think it's kind of cool. But yeah, that's kind of all I really have to say about the song, despite it being one of my favorites. And now, unfortunately, this might be a hot take for a lot of fans. I don't know if it's gonna be a hot take for you guys because David seems pretty burnt out. But the next song I have some interesting opinions on.
Wait, what did you rate this one?
Oh, this one? Fuck it, I don't know, like 4.3, 4.4. It's fun. It's cool. I like it.
Hell yeah. All right, well, I got some opinions on this song, too. This is track number 15, Wilshire.
Oh, I'm excited.
And I wrote down, I mean, I was starting off great. I have nothing to say about this song, but I do have something to say. I think that it's somewhat interesting one time, but maybe even that's a stretch. This song pissed me off, and it is way too long, and I get what he was going for, and it's cool, and it's like, it's interesting that it exists. I could not stand to listen to the song, though. This was a 1, and this was my least favorite song on the album.
So you guys remember I said that I'm going to start a generational run with this song?
It's 3s.
I was wrong.
Oh.
I was wrong.
Okay, I thought so. I was like, there's no way.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's with the next song. It's way too long, in my opinion. The production and the beat of the song also just felt off to me. I can't really explain it, but it just did. It's a 2.5, so we're staying with the same score. The next song though, we're gonna have a switch up. So
nice.
I forgot about this song. I will say I work along Wilshire, so that's cool.
Shout out, great street. I've been there.
Yep, awesome street, one of the best streets of LA.
Okay. Well, my turn to talk. Fun fact alert. My dumbass friend Jack Michelle thought it was pronounced Wilshire. He has grown up in LA and still called it Wilshire. Shame on you, Jack. What's wrong with you? Grown ass man. As far as the song goes, I don't really have that many opinions on it. I think it has a key theme of like sexual greed in terms of like him jeopardizing a friendship over a girl and stuff like that. I think those themes are much clearer and more interesting in albums like Chromacopia. You know, Darling I is a much, much better version of the same theme put in the song. I hated this when I first listened to it because it's so long, and it's like got like the staticky part, obviously, so it's not mixed well or anything like that. Over time, I've grown to appreciate it a bit because he is still rhyming all of these sentences, and you kind of forget that because you're listening to a story and you're invested in that story. But imagine having to tell a fucking 7-minute long story, but also everything sort of kind of rhymes. I think that's impressive. Something to strive towards, and also just a sign of what a good lyricist he can be and how good he is at stringing words together to tell a story. Despite that, this is maybe my lowest score on the entire album. It's a 1. Not a big fan.
That's fair.
I think that's the first time we've matched. Twins.
I gotta say, I have a fun fact. This song, when I was doing research, I saw this. I don't know if it's confirmed. From what I understand, he made the beat and then he rapped over it in one take, and that's kind of why it sounds like shitty, because he was just like recording it in one take, and I believe there was some like bleed from his headphones onto like his actual vocal take, and then it kind of gets a little bit messy. But also, let me say that one more time, I believe he freestyled this entire thing, which is also insane.
That is very insane. I don't know if that's true or not.
I don't know if that's true either. It was claimed in one like post or description of the song that I read, and I don't know if it is fully true, but even if parts of this are freestyle, it is kind of insane because this is a cohesive story from start to finish, and like you said, it kind of rhymes. And if you're doing this in like one take as well, that is also insane. That alone is just like, to have enough stamina to rap for 8 minutes straight is, yeah, that's impressive.
I think it's a dope song. I think there's a lot of cool stuff on it. It's just not something I like going back to a lot. And I don't know. I think some weirdos probably listen to this and think this is like justifying cheating or whatever. I think it's clearly like, look how miserable this thing making of us, but like, God, I still want you. And it just like shows kind of like what a fucked up person you are. It's kind of like lengthwise the exact opposite of Blessed, but in theme it's Blessed, and this song really encapsulate what this album is about, which sucks because they're like the two worst songs on the album. But he put the theme as like its own little thing, and if you don't want to listen to it, you can listen to the album knowing the theme without having that annoying bulk of him trying to hint at it over the course of the album. I think he does a good job of showing that theme in all the other songs. So say what you will about the song. It's impressive. It's cool. It's not that good. One.
We got one last song of the original edition of this album, which is track number 16, Safari, which was written and produced with Jay Versace. And I have to tell you,
Fine Star.
This song is a perfect example of why DJ drama annoys me. This adds nothing to the song, and I have his quote here. "We on a safari, legendary, world-renowned, globally recognized. Catch us if you can. Are you keeping up? Once in a lifetime. This is what it sounds like when the moon and sun collide. Speaking matter-of-factly, we're just light years ahead." And that just pissed me off so much. This song ended up being a 1.5 because I just couldn't stand hearing him anymore, and I was like getting burnt out. But I will say, once we start the estate sale portion of the album, I feel like we get a new wind there. And like, I feel like this mixtape almost feels like chronological, where it, like, he starts out with so much energy, and then by the end, it's kind of like, okay, like I get it. And then when you get to the estate sale, it's like, oh my God, he's back again. He has so much more to say.
This is what it sounds like when the moon and sun collide. I love saying that shit. That is so fun to say. One of the reasons I love this album so much is everything DJ Drama says, from like, we got our toes out, we're eating French vanilla ice cream. I just say that shit all the time.
No, not even we're eating French vanilla ice cream. A woman just fed
exactly.
me French vanilla ice cream.
Like, I just like saying stuff adjacent to it in the DJ Drama voice whenever I can. It's such a fun thing. I wish I had a DJ. I know it would be like literal hell for you, Brandon.
It would be fun though.
It would be so fun.
Like, I have to admit that.
If there's a guy who's just like describing, it's like, I'm in my bedroom recording a podcast right now. Roommate's gotta be quiet. Like, that would be so fucking funny. If I'm like stuck in traffic right now, still in LA though, like, that's funny. I would like, I think that'd be like a good time. And I think this song sort of has that. But David, what do you think? I want to know what you think.
I mean, I kind of fell into the same, you guys know what I think. I gave it away. This is a 3. It felt like kind of a return to the previous style, which I obviously preferred. I've said that a million times at this point. I don't really have anything new to add, except that I like the flute in this and Be Gone. That's all.
As far as I go, I think I kind of already spoke my mind on it. I think this is a good song. I don't think it's ever been my favorite. It's funny that Jay Versace is on this, but he's such a talented producer who's worked on so many different things. So it's really cool that like that really funny guy from Vine is like a generational musical talent. I think he really fits into that Tyler cult of like funny, really comedic people who also make some of the best music. I like the verses on the song. They like who? I'm like we. Like, that's fun. I like a lot of like the French ad-libbing in this album. Ciabatta and Como, It Matches My Peacoat. Fucks that. I don't know, man. But like, yeah, sure. Like, I like Ciabatta. Peacoats are cool. Yeah.
I mean, we in Switzerland, so you know.
There's a lot of stuff. I like his reference to Runaway Love, but I'm no Ludacris, just because he references Ludacris a lot. And Ludacris, famous for the Fast and Furious franchise, is also a pretty good musician. But yeah, I would give this song, I actually don't know what I'd give this song. I'd probably give it like a 2.83 or something. I don't know. It's good. It's not that good, but it's a fine way to close the album out. I think it's the worst album closer he has, though. And I also, again, feel this album's mismatched because this should not close the album. I really think like Rise would have been better even, but I think Run It Up is easily the best way to have closed this album. I don't know what Safari's doing here, but if Safari wasn't on this album as the closer, I don't know where else it would be. So I guess that's why I did it. Also, boom, 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 boom. Fun fact, there's a song that's on the vinyl, but not on the album called Fishtail. It has one of the verses from this song on it, and this song is not on the vinyl.
Oh.
So if you want a version of this album that doesn't have Safari on it because you don't like it for whatever reason, but you do like the one verse about like spinning your, like driving your car around and like fishtailing and everything, Fishtail is also a pretty good song, but it's also non-essential. There's a reason that's not on the streaming version of the album. I do appreciate artists who give vinyls a benefit to like purchase other than just like, oh, I have this big disc that's like of an dated technology that sounds a little bit good.
Does
but like,
Fishtail appear at the end of the album?
No, it doesn't. It is not on the estate sale.
No, on the vinyl. Yeah, like it doesn't take the place
vinyl?
of Safari.
Yes.
Okay.
Because if this album ended on Wilshire, holy shit, terrible.
Yeah.
That'd be awful. That'd be like such a lame way to end such a good album.
Okay, it's time for track number 17, Everything Must Go, which is the start of the estate sale. I have nothing to say about this. This is fully an intro.
I literally asked, should I score this?
No.
And yeah, well, I also said that I feel like this would actually be a good endpoint for the original album. Like I could see this being a good endpoint. I did also say though, why is this here? So maybe I kind of contradicted myself, but it's still a 3. Like I know it also kind of feels quirky the same way that the first the way that Mama Talk felt, although that is better than this 100%. But yeah, I am giving out another unofficial rating of 3 to this.
This song, not really a song, obviously this is the last interlude that we have here, was recorded right after he won his Grammy for this album for Best Rap Album of the Year. This is also coming off of like one of the best tours that I've personally ever seen, just in terms of like visual identity and like effort put into it. There's like a lot of fun mixing. He dropped a couple singles during the tour and they did so well that he started performing them at the tour, which was really nice because he dropped one song that I really liked and I was like, I'm never gonna hear this live, and then I immediately heard it live like a week later because I got really lucky with my timing. So to me, this is kind of like wrapping up like, yo, the album's over, but let's go into the estate sale. And at the start of this podcast, Brandon, you said the reason that I picked the estate sale is because I want to mess with you because it's DJ Drama and this is the longer version of the album. I didn't think of that, but let's say yes because that's really funny. The real reason I picked the estate sale is because I think the estate sale on its own could be one of my favorite albums of all time. I like the estate sale more than I like the original album.
Oh, wow.
Which is very bizarre, but it's true. And if these were 2 separate albums, the estate sale would be my favorite album of all time, I think. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I would say this would be my favorite album of all time. And then the rest of Call Me If You Get Lost would be around the number 3, number 4 mark. I don't think there's a bad song on here. And I'm very in agreement with what David was hinting at, that we're about to go on a generational run, because I've never seen a fucking generational run like this. I've never seen a deluxe this good. It's awesome.
Well, on that note, track number 18, Stuntman, featuring Vince Staples. I wrote down, this song is quite good, and I love a Vince Staples verse, and you may have noticed that I didn't pick a favorite song. That's because this is my favorite song.
Ooh,
this one is a 3, but I could see it going to a
nice.
3.5. I really like this, and I think it just all comes together, and like I said before, I can just feel the energy again. It's like we have a second win now, and we're back to being like on top of the world. And this one came together like really well for me.
I kind of just state the course, but in a good way. I feel like there is some very interesting things going on with this song, which do work. Ultimately, like I said, this is not my style. Just like, this is not my genre, so it's still a 3, but I do feel like this song definitely has something more going on. That was a terrible sentence right there, but this is the 18th song, so I'm gonna let it pass.
I also love this song. This is a 4.2. I think everything here on out is 4 and up.
Ooh.
Yeah, bitch, I got a jelly bean, Kelly green rolls, and the guts off white like a jalapeno. Leather hot in here, shit make Nelly sing songs. Crazy bar, so good. I want a green car with a white interior so bad now. Just off of that, I want to drive a jalapeno, Like, that's such a fucking cool way to like describe your own car. He does this all the time. He's so fun with colors in his music. And there was like a lyric on a more recent album where he's like, yellow diamonds on my neck make me look taxi, because he's black, and then the yellow diamonds like makes him look taxi. That's such a cool thing to say. Love that. Also might be a reference to his character in Marty Supreme because he drives a taxi. But I think this song is just really fun. I think Vince Staples is so good on it. I think he's
super
so
underrated.
fun. This was probably one of my main reasons I got into Vince Staples music, and that guy is just fucking funny. Like, I'm not going to repeat some of the stuff he said on the song because I can't say it, but there's a lot of funny lines in this if you think about them. He says, Fiat 155, bitch, this ain't a Lexus. I take that personally because I drive a Lexus, but he is right. Like, that is a better car. I really like the song, though. 4.2.
I do want to ask you one thing real quick before we move on. Have you heard Ready to Die by Biggie?
By Biggie, like Biggie Smalls? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know about his Lexus obsession?
Oh, yeah. No, I know all about that.
Yeah.
There's also...
I just figured that's definitely up there for you because of the Lexus.
Yeah. One fun
just
thing...
want to make sure.
You know the artist Pusha T?
Of course.
There's a list online of every time he's mentioned a car, and it's either a positive light or a negative light. Lexus is one of 3 car brands that he's talked about positively. Every other car brand he dogs on relentlessly. So I feel pretty proud to be a Lexus owner just off of that.
Track number 19, What a Day. This one was produced by Madlib. And I wrote down that this song is a vibe, and I could totally see it growing on me. And shout out to Dead Poet Society on verse 3. This one's a 2.5.
I was definitely burnt out, and I was finding it hard to score things at this point because I was so burnt out. But I just wrote, it's a much simpler song that still works. It's a 3 still, obviously, considering where I've been hinting at.
Look, I don't fuck with parties. I don't fuck with the paparazzi. Never have I drove a Hellcat or a Maserati. Never needed others for my personal validation. She ain't get in touch if she cannot hold a conversation. I like that a lot. I think that's a good flow. I think that's a good verse. I like Tyler a lot because he's like, I don't like to drink alcohol. I don't like to smoke. I don't like to go to parties. I like to go to sleep early. I like to wake up early. I like sweet treats. And the estate sale is a big, like, you'll see, like, he talks about that shit a lot on the estate sale, and it's a lot of my personal identity prior to this listening. So I felt like, yeah, hell yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm like that. I am like that. And that's cool that I'm like that. I don't mind living like that. I think never have I drove a Hellcat. He mentions Hellcats a lot in a negative light, especially in Chromacopia, in terms of like a Hellcat's like a bad car, which it kind of is. I think it's sort of kind of douchey. A lot of people really love them. It's like a big deal for them. But the fact is, like, I've never touched one. I never will. Is like this like almost like elitism that isn't offensive to anybody except for Hellcat drivers. So it's a way of like being like, I'm above this without hurting like any actual community's feelings. So I think that's pretty cool. This feels like I'm sitting on a blanket at a park. I think the grass is green. There's a little bit of dew in the air. The sun's not too bright. There's a couple clouds in the sky. He has a different song on this album where he says he always has a blanket in the trunk just in case. And I always have a blanket in the trunk just in case. And if I ever do need that blanket for a nice picnic, it would be to this song because this song feels like a nice day at the park or something. I also like the little whistling. This song is a 4.3.
I do want to ask you, because you haven't said your favorite song yet. Is it still coming up?
It's still coming up.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
We're getting
Watch
pretty
it be
late
the
in
last
here.
song.
It could be. That's a classic Brandon move right there.
It's not the last song, but I do love the last song. The last song is definitely like top 4 for me.
Wharf Talk, track number 20, featuring ASAP Rocky. I said I don't like this song at all. 1.5.
And I said I do enjoy the more laid back, relaxed style of the song. Even though there are too many songs here and everything's mixing together, it's still a 3. That will change with the next song. We'll see in what way.
I think this is a 4.4. Maybe 4.3.
Ooh.
But I really like the song. I think Tyler and Rocky are maybe one of the best duos of all time. Fun fact time. Rocky and Tyler were going to do a collab album, and their duo name was going to be Don't Tap the Glass.
Oh.
They never did that because Rocky is a night owl. He's always awake at night. Tyler goes to bed at like 8 o'clock and wakes up 4 a.m. So they never could like figure out their schedules together. So whenever they have a song together, it's a rare and special occasion because they're like best friends who just live in 2 different worlds. So they rarely have any overlap. I think this music video is also very fun because it both highlights Tyler's Golf LaFleur brand, but it also highlights Rocky's AWGE brand. Both clothing brands of 2 very different guys who get along perfectly well from rival music groups from like the early or like mid 2010s. I think that's nice. I think the lyrics on the song are also very good. It captures a feeling very well, which a lot of this album does. This definitely fits into that. Check out the music video. Other fun thing, almost every song on the estate sale has a music video. Wharf Talk has one. Dogtooth has one. Heaven to Me has one. Sorry Not Sorry, one of the best ones, has one. That's just cool. There's a lot of music videos to this album, and this song getting one, I think, wasn't necessary, but it's cool that it has one.
Track number 21, Dogtooth. I only wrote one thing about this. It's all blending together. This one's a 2. It's fine. I kind of got back into the same place that I did after the album, or towards the end of the original version of the album, and I don't know. It's fine. It's like it's just not super my style as well. I mean, to borrow a quote from David.
Well, I do agree with that because I feel like the song, like the lyrics and the vocal performance just doesn't mix with the production very well here. To the point that this song became very annoying to me and is my least favorite song. This is a 2.
Oh, wow.
It just did not work for me at all.
Okay, so I'm in a podcast with 2 non-carpet munchers. I understand that. That's perfectly fine. I love the song. I think it's really fun. This was one of the songs that was released before this estate sale officially came out. And again, it has that little like Tyler burnout that you get of like listening to it a bunch, waiting for the rest of the stuff to come out. But I think this is a great song to come out with it. When I saw him at Camp Flogna about like 2-3 years ago, his stage was based off of the music video for this, which is where it was just like a giant crane dropping like a really nice car of his and just completely destroying it. Cool thing to do for a music video. I think the music video is just entirely very fun. I think the term dogtooth is a very interesting way to describe somebody who has a tendency to eat pussy. I don't fully understand why it has anything to do with dogs. The tooth part, I get a little bit more. Maybe it's like you're slobbering or whatever. But I don't fully know the meaning behind dogtooth or the origins of it. I'm sure that's a little fun fact if you Google it. But I like it. Ring, 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 bitch, pick up the phone. That's fun. 567 is the figure for a set list. He says 67, guys.
6-7.
That's cool. 67
I
mentioned.
wrote that down and then I deleted it.
You
Because
coward.
I knew once again that you would bring it up.
I was not going to bring it up. This is a coincidence.
You're obsessed with
This is a
6-7.
coincidence.
It's
I'm not.
okay.
Nah. I like the song a lot. 4.4.
I'm still waiting for This Is My Favorite Song. Well, I guess I'm going to have to predict that it's the next one. Track number 22, Heaven to Me. This one samples a John Legend song, and Kanye West is also a writer. Both of them are connections to Big Sean and, of course, Kanye West himself. I don't have any problem with this song. I'm just bored at this point of the album, and it's a 2.
This worked better for me because it was more uniform than Dogtooth. It just mesh together better. Yeah, it's a 3. And I gotta say, Pollo Loco.
I love this song. This is my favorite song of all time.
Ooh.
This is like the ideal concept of what a future is like for a person. Living healthy, looking good in your 40s, looking good in your 50s, looking good in your 60s. I love that. Pasadena mention. I'm from Pasadena.
I was gonna say.
It's cool he says Pasadena in this song. This song fucking rocks. This is my favorite song of all time. I think the John Legend sample is really cool. That's why Kanye is credited, because this was post crazy Kanye. So I saw that. I was like, why the fuck is Kanye on this? Because I feel like Tyler isn't that stupid. And it turns out it's because he sampled a song that Kanye had produced initially. This song just rocks. I don't have anything bad to say about it. It's definitely not a perfect song, I'm sure, but to me, it's my favorite song of all time. I have like 3 or 4 other favorite songs of all time because I think it's stupid to keep everything in like that number 1 pristine condition, because you're only going to start lying to yourself to keep it there, and then one day you're going to get sick of it. So I have a couple of them, but this is definitely one of my favorite songs of all time. I think it's a positive vibe to listen to. The music video for this one is awesome. It is very clearly Tyler doing this song in one take. It was his second take, but he does it in one take, the entire performance of the song, and they recorded it while he was doing it. And his recording studio is awesome because it's in like a grassy hillside. It's a real place, I'm assuming, that he has, where it's just in his backyard. It's just like a outdoor recording studio in this grassy area, and he just walks around with this microphone, the cables trailing behind him, and as he mentions stuff from his past and his future and like references to whatever, he just throws literal PNGs of those things up on the screen, either from his personal camera roll or things he found on Google. I think that's a fun idea for a music video. It's a very down-to-earth music video. I love the song so much. Oh my God. The only other thing that I can really say about it is, if I'm ever rich, if I ever make a lot of money, I am going to buy like a house in a place where it has a lot of land, but I'm going to build a smaller house because I don't want a big house. I want a big backyard. I want a huge ass fucking backyard. That's heaven to me, and that's what this song represents. I think heaven to me is a lovely name for a song. But yeah, so this is the song that I think is the best on the entire album. Don't love anything more than this. This is a 5 out of 5.
Hell yeah.
Sorry. Honestly, I've been like, some of my ratings are way too low, some are way too high. I should have prepared them beforehand. But if I'm being honest, every song on this album is a hit for me. Every song is a banger to me. Everyone is worth listening to at least one more time. I think any good movie, any good album is something where if you go back to it, you will pick up something new with it, and this album definitely has that for me. So
100% agree.
I connect very deeply with this album. I understand other people won't, so I don't take any offense to you guys giving this a 3, a 2, a 1. This is a 5 to me. I love it. It's everything.
Hell yeah. We got 2 songs left, guys. The end is in sight. And then we have a whole ass movie to talk about too.
That's true. I'll keep that short.
I'll keep this short. Track number 23, Boyfriend, Girlfriend, 2020 demo featuring YG. I did not write a single thing about this song. I have nothing to say. It's a 1.5. I think this is the weakest song of the estate sale.
And I have one thing to say. Interesting production, interesting pauses. I don't know if it fully works, but it's still a 3.
This is to me like a 3.4 or something. It's not that bad, the great of a song. I think its position album's very cool just because having an unfinished song on your mixtape feels very essential. So the fact that he snuck that in with the deluxe to really like tie everything up together, I think it's perfect for the album. I love that it's a demo. I think that's fun. I think it's like not good enough of a song to make into a full song. So leaving it as a demo is fun, but it is good enough of a song to release on a deluxe. So I just appreciate its presence. I appreciate YG being on there. I think "You're my girlfriend, boyfriend," that's fun. I think that's like a cute little hook. It's nothing too crazy, but it's a fun enough song.
Last song, everybody.
Oh my God.
Track 24, Sorry Not
Holy
Sorry.
shit. Here we go.
I said, I'm not sure why, but I feel like this could be a Childish Gambino song. This is another song that I feel like could grow on me. It's a 2.5, and it's pretty good.
I don't have feelings anymore. This is a 3. That's all I have to say.
It's a long album.
The longest we've ever done.
But I would like to say this album is like 2 or 3 minutes longer than the Prince album we listened to,
Also
which
true.
is 13 tracks less.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. That album is impossible to get through.
Damn.
So
Which Prince album?
1999.
Yeah. I don't know why I act surprised. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe they have that opinion that I share with them. Yeah, that's a long album. This song is awesome. I think this is a 4.8.
Ooh,
I think it's just an essential Tyler song. If you're getting into Tyler's discography, this is the one you save for the last, I guess, because it wraps everything up nicely. I think it's a very good way to end this era for him. This is unfortunate that you guys haven't watched any of the music videos for, because this is one of the best music videos I've ever seen. If you're curious as to what those things are, I don't know if you remember my fun fact for Sir Baudelaire, the first song of this album, but Tyler has a little persona for every single album. And every time one of his albums would end, he would then move on to the next album. And at some point during that album, he would imply that the previous persona was killed. Then he kind of shied away from that. So when he got to this album, he made Sorry Not Sorry, and he made a music video for it. That music video teases Saint Chroma, the main character of the next album, by showing his arm in the army uniform, barely, and then it goes into this one tiny little stage. It looks like a little like play stage or something, and it has the exact visual identity of this album. And it's multiple different Tyler the Creators, all played by him, all dressed up in the most iconic stuff from those album eras, but to the maximum, including Sir Baudelaire, who has like crazy jewelry and everything, as well as the Geneva blue cardigan and the little fur hat and everything. And they're all just standing there and they're singing the song. And every time one of the lines from the song applies to a certain era of Tyler, he says that. Like, he says it from that persona. I think that's really beautiful. And then as it keeps going, another Tyler shows up, this one wearing just black Dickies and no shirt. And he just goes around and like slowly drags off screen and beats them to death and kills all of them. And you just slowly see him tear apart and murder every single one of his past personas, which I think is cool, because what a true artist should do, what every artist should do, is move forward. I think lingering on the past too much is a bad thing. Not ignoring it, but just lingering on it and dragging yourself down is a bad thing. I think this is a perfect song to kill off all of those past characters because of how controversial his past selves are. This is his apology, but it's not pathetic. It's not like some sad begging. It's him being like, I'm not that guy anymore. I know I'm not that guy anymore. I don't have to prove to you guys I'm not that guy anymore, but you can clearly tell from this, I'm not him, okay? I'm somebody else. I'm myself in the present. That's all I'm going to be. I think this song is a very good example of that. You guys should definitely watch the music video for this one. If there's any song on this album you should watch the music video for, it's this. It's shot beautifully. The colors are great, and it looks really, really good. And also, if you're curious, his next two characters, Saint Chroma and Big Poe, both died during the Grammys this year. Big Poe runs over Saint Chroma with his car, and then Big Poe walks into a gas station and explodes and dies. He freaking explodes. Now there's no Tyler persona, so I guess there's a new album coming on the way. I'm guessing August.
I want to say everything you say about this and about Tyler's personas and the album eras and all this stuff is like exactly the type of idea that I have towards making music and being a performer. Like, he's truly a performer, and it like feels like I feel sad that I'm not able to get into it as much as I want to. You know, like, I feel like there's just that something that's kind of missing there, but maybe like I have to go back to Flower Boy and find it again, because that was the album that I was like, okay, I get it now. But then unfortunately I did not like Igor at all. So that one was just like, it just kind of like, I listened to it once and I was just like, that's it.
My best advice is watch some interviews of Tyler talking about his stuff post Call Me If You Get Lost era. He has a lot of very good opinions on things, which is interesting coming from a guy who made so many mistakes in the past, which is probably why he has those opinions. But like, I love his, I haven't watched, like, I'm a fan of his, but I don't really like listen to those podcasts much. But every once in a while a clip shows up on like my feed or something and I listen to it. I really do learn a lot, and I think like some of his best pieces of advice are hate people who just discuss music in terms of, this is my favorite, this isn't my favorite, I like this one more. Not to disrespect this podcast, because that's kind of what I'm realizing it sounds like. It's not that. This is a very constructive form to talk about. there are people who just talk about music and specifically hip hop in terms of just ranking and like things that are your favorite. And I do rank stuff. Like, there's nothing wrong with ranking. I literally in my free time will take all of the albums I've listened to and just order them from 1 to like 192 or whatever I'm at right now. It's fun. It's a cool pastime, but I think the discussion of all music should be a little bit more than that. And I think he has a very good grasp of what's important and what should be talked about and what shouldn't be talked about. I think also his concepts in artistry and moving forward and what to do about the past are also very interesting. So I think you'd get a lot out of that. I think anybody would get a lot out of that. I should probably sit down and listen to those interviews all the way through, because he's a very intelligent, well-spoken person who thinks very highly of himself and should. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think nobody should feel bad about feeling good about themselves.
I do want to say that you brought up something that I felt a lot this week when preparing my notes, which is I don't like to publicly dislike things because, like I will change my mind forever. Some of my favorite music has been stuff that I was like, I don't like this at first. And then I grow to understand it and to learn why I do like it and why I was initially like turned off from it. But that's another thing where it's like, I hate the fact that like technically this is criticism, because I don't think any art should be criticized. But at the same time, the thing that I want to talk about most is art. And the only way I know to talk about it is what I feel from it. So it's a weird middle ground of like, I don't want to be called a critic, even though I kind of am one sometimes. But like, I don't know, and I guess this is the perfect time to reiterate that just the fact that like music exists and people enjoy it and people enjoy like every type of music that exists is amazing. And even if something's not for me, like this is, which by the way, I gave the album a 2 overall. I'm so like happy that people are able to find this and to enjoy it much more than I ever could, because like that's the point of art, is to enjoy it and to make you feel something outside of just the regular mundane day to day.
Except for Drake. He is dog shit. He should fucking die. I despise Drake so much. Otherwise, I completely agree with you. It's a reason why my rating system is best thing ever, worst thing ever. I love it when people like something that I don't. I think that's so interesting. My girlfriend has like so much stuff that she likes that I just don't like. And I'm like, that's like so cool that we have like such completely different tastes in those things, but also we like so much of the same things. I think that's like one of the best parts of experience. Sometimes I know like I'm talking to my roommates and somebody says they don't like something about like Tyler, and like one of my roommates will look at me like, oh, what's he gonna say? I'm like, I really don't. I don't care. That's cool that you don't like that. Like, that's interesting. I wonder what caused that. I wonder what caused me to like what I do like.
I think that speaks to the fact that a lot of people forget that it's okay to disagree.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes to the point, like a lot of times when, you tell someone that you don't like something that they like, the reaction is like, oh, why? Instead of being like, oh yeah, it's not for you, that's totally fine, or maybe it hasn't grown on your or whatever. And I think that's like, I don't know, I feel like that's definitely partially, the fact that there is not much media literacy left anymore in this world.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really big problem, where people feel like everyone needs to agree about everything, and it's so stupid. That's not how it should be.
Just not like us. Fuck Drake. Sorry.
I am surprised that it went this long without you bringing up Drake. There's a reason that we didn't do Drake before you were on the podcast. We will be doing him at some point because he is kind of like important, to music in general. So you don't have to like him. I mean, we'll probably listen to a fucking Bruno Mars album or Harry Styles album because they're important to music. Doesn't mean I like their music.
Drake is the only person on earth who has never made art before.
That's insane.
Even his childhood doodles, before he was fucking corrupted by whatever evil spirit got him, dog shit. I hate that man so much. There's a line on this album where he says, I gave Drizzy a milli. That's a reference to Drake. Fun fact, Drake was the surprise headliner to Camp Flog Gnaw in, I believe, like 2017, 2018 or something like that. He teased that it was a surprise the whole time, but he didn't say who it was, and everyone thought it was going to be Frank Ocean. Drake came out, and people booed him off stage. fuck yeah. I've hated Drake for so long. And I remember a week before that happened, I was talking to my best friend's parents because they like Drake. And I was like, no, he sucks. And then a week later, I was sleeping over at his house right after that had happened. And I just walked up to them smugly. I'm like, look at this. I think that Gave Drake a Millie line might be a potential reference to the fact that Drake is a pedophile for Millie Bobby Brown. Maybe not. Maybe not. But I would love it if that was the case.
Does the timeline add up there? I guess it probably.
It definitely does.
That was probably pre-COVID.
So that's like a huge thing. I don't like Drake. I think any other opinion is super respectable, but that's the reason why my rating system is like best thing ever, worst thing ever, because I think there's two trains of thoughts. There's people who want to like just rank stuff, and it's like always about like, oh, my thing's better than your opinion, and just arguing about stuff in like a non-constructive way. And then there's people who are like, actually, we have to be super constructive and be really like detailed about like the specifics of why you like something. And I think it's great when you find something that you can be very specific about. Something like, for me, like Marty Supreme, I have a very clear reason as to why I like the movie, even if the character isn't like a good example of like a person. There's a lot of stuff where like I do get that feeling, but there's also sometimes stuff where I listen to something and to me it is just straight up, I like this or I don't like this. And my answer is like the answer of a child. And most people are afraid to share that one because they're going to be like, people are going to think I'm a child for thinking this for this reason. I don't give a shit. That's why I don't like it. That's why I do like it. I'm going to live with that. I don't think it's like that big of a deal. You shouldn't be ashamed to like or dislike anything. You shouldn't be upset at somebody for not liking something you don't like. I think it's cool to ask why. Just keep your cool while you do it.
What if I tell you I like Drake?
Fuck you. Anyway, my opinion doesn't mean much except for the hate of Drake. That, my opinion, is fact and law for that one. But in everything else, my opinion doesn't mean much. I know it doesn't mean much, but I still hold it in high regards and I still value it because it's my opinion. So to me, it means a lot. I think people should both have respect for their opinions, but also humbleness in terms of what that opinion is. And also everything I said, not fact. If you disagree, that's perfectly fine.
And on that note, fuck Anthony Fantano. David, what did you rate this album? Was it a 3?
Anthony Fantano is just rating stuff. People act like he's fact or law. That's people's own perception of him. I think Anthony Fantano is actually fine.
I hate him because of the
he's
audience
a little
he cultivates and does nothing to make sure they're normal. Like,
for sure, but he's trying to get bank.
Yeah, so. Exactly. And that's another reason to hate him because he's getting bank off of the criticism of other people's work, of actually doing work.
Despite him being against everything I hate, or I guess being against everything I love and being for everything I hate, I gotta respect it. Game is game. Money's money.
Fuck him. David, 3.
At the end of the day, it's just a game. And at the end of the game, it's just a day. That's a new saying that I came up with earlier today with my girlfriend, Andy, who I love very much.
David, is this album a 3?
It's not a 3 because of the length. If this was the regular version, it would be a 3. But because of the length, it's a 2.5.
Rate the estate sale on its own. I'm curious about that.
I mean, if you split into 2 halves, right? Each half will get a 3.
Okay.
But together, it's a 2.5.
So you're saying it's a 6. Fantastic. That's exactly what I think too. Oh my God, we're on the same page here. 6 out of 5.
Out of 10?
6 out of 5.
And talking about 6 out of 5s.
We have reached the end of the album portion. And holy shit, we have a movie to talk about, guys.
We are talking about The Holdovers, which is a 2023 film. Well, actually, first let me ask, why did he choose The Holdovers? I'm very interested because I'm not surprised that you really like this film. That's valid. I love it. But I would not have thought that you would choose this film, especially pairing it with Tyler, the Creator. So I'm very intrigued.
You guys asked me around Christmas time if I wanted to do this.
False. This was well over a year ago.
No, I'm kidding. Actually, I think when you guys did ask me like what I wanted to do, it was this, but I've always liked The Holdovers. That was my joke answer, by the way. I think to me, Call Me If You Get Lost is summer. It's spring, and I think Holdovers is fall and winter. So I just wanted to have like a whole year.
I like this.
I can totally see that.
In this, I think it's also a good way to close it out because I know you guys do movies last. So I personally thought this was like a fun way to end this. I think The Holdovers is a nice movie, and it's a very humble movie because Call Me If You Get Lost is also very braggadocious, very like talk my shit, let me like be confident and everything. Holdovers, on the other hand, is not even a movie about healing, like some people would say, but instead surviving with trauma and like hardship, not so much as like growing above it or beyond it or past it, but just being fine with having that be a part of you. I think all the characters are in a fucked up position in life. They all don't fix that thing that's wrong with them, because the thing that's wrong with them is, I've thrown away my life. My son is dead, and my dad has lost his marbles, and my mom doesn't care about me. And none of those problems get resolved by the end of the movie. But all three characters are a lot happier by the end of the movie. I think that's kind of cool. I
completely agree.
I like movies that have a like different take on like a classic thing to do in films. And I think this movie in particular does a really good job of that. I am also obsessed with holiday stuff in terms of TV shows, movies, whatever. Any holiday episode of a sitcom, awesome. Those are so fun. Any holiday movie, so fun. Always fun to see how people do like a little fun twist on those things. And I saw Holdovers like 2, maybe 3 years ago, whenever it came out in theaters, when me and my friend Jared decided to skip out of class for college. It was the one and only time I ever skipped out of class for college, just to go see a movie. And then we got to the movie theater and we're like, wait, what should we watch? And then we saw Holdovers was on there. And I was like, yeah, that seemed like a fun thing. And we watched it, and it hit so hard for the two of us that it was just such a nice memory. And up until recently, it was in my top 4 films of all time. It is maybe being challenged by 2 different films right now, but for the time being, it's still up there. End of the day, the reason I picked this is I like it.
I am surprised the reason you picked this was not because of Miramax and Harvey Weinstein. I know how much you idolize him.
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me? It's like how David loves just like the whole MAGA agenda and Kelsey Grammer.
Wow.
Right. Like it's kind of in the same boat as that.
All right, Brandon, show us that Andrew Tate poster on your wall. Come on. Let's pull you in here too.
Oh wait, that's actually kind of sick. That's a cool poster. Oh, it's so big. It's like huge. It's almost like larger than he is. Anyway, I like that they use the Miramax logo, the original classic one at the start of this movie. It both makes this feel like a movie that came out in the 70s and reminds me of the golden age of Weinstein.
Jesus Christ.
The golden age. Jesus. All right.
Can I just say...
No, I'm kidding. Fuck that guy. He should die. He should actually die.
We're trying to kill him.
We got to mention him as much as we possibly can. But genuinely, I am so happy that you did choose this movie, because honestly, I feel like we might have forgotten about it and not covered it for another like 10 years or something, which who knows if the podcast
I was going to ask,
go.
have you guys both seen this movie before this?
I have never seen this.
I watched this when it first came out, so yeah.
I was torn between this, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Which also would have been great.
I was torn between that, Back to the Future, and this.
Oh man, I love Back to the Future so much.
There's one person I know who, if they ever do appear on the show, would die to talk about Back to the Future. So I want to leave that open for them. If they never take that shot, I'm going to take it. But I just think this is like a fun, good movie that teaches you a lot. So
I agree.
Yeah.
With that, I'm going to throw out the IMDb logline to you guys to see what you guys think. So here goes. In 1970, a curmudgeonly history teacher at a New England boarding school remains on campus during Christmas break to supervise held-over students and ends up forming an unlikely bond with a brainy but damaged troublemaker. Thoughts?
Too long, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. And also they didn't mention Mary, which I was surprised by. But
that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Once again, disrespect of black women. I cannot believe it.
Exactly.
Speaking of black women, for Armenia.
Let's go.
Oh my God. Jennifer, I said that first. God damn it. I always forget.
Shout out Iran.
That was good.
Nobody told me to do that, by the way.
No, that was
all
all
him.
you.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. We lasted 2.5
That's crazy.
hours without bringing that up. That is insane.
Which, I mean, that's probably shorter for the
I
audience.
wanted
but
to
still.
edge it as long as possible.
Damn. All right. Anyways, I am going to start a new thing starting with this episode by also mentioning the genre. So this is not officially, but according to Wikipedia, a Christmas comedy drama.
Checks out.
Sounds good.
That's right. It's directed by Alexander Payne. It's produced by Mike Johnson, Bill Block, and David Hemmingson. Another David. It's written by David Hemmingson.
God save us.
I know. And the cinematography is by Eigil Brild. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing that. It's edited by Kevin Tent. I love that last name. And the music is composed by Mark Orton. It's distributed by Focus Features. Obviously, as we mentioned, produced by Miramax. And stars Paul Giamatti, Divine Joan Randolph, and Dominic Sessa. The idea did originate from both Alexander Payne and David Hemmingson. Alexander Payne kind of got a rough idea after watching a French 1935 film called Merluce, and after reading a TV pilot written by David Hemmingson, both of which take place at a boarding school. So he approached Hemmingson about adapting the pilot into a feature, and they did. And Hemmingson has said that the final script is in many ways autobiographical. That includes the woman walking up to them in the bookstore, kind of soliciting sex. That really happened to him.
Cool.
Yes. So in many ways, a lot of the script is brought out from his own life. It was shot at 5 real Massachusetts boarding schools. They were Groton School, Northfield Mount Herman School, St. Mark's School, Fairhaven High School, and Deerfield Academy. And I wonder if you know this. Do you know where they found Dominic Sessa?
I do know this. I don't know which of those 5 schools it was, but they were struggling with finding a lead for the role for the movie. They just could not find a child actor who was like befitting the role, and they decided to ask all the drama departments at the schools that were still active. And they found Dominic Sessa as one of the students at those drama departments, and they did a couple reads with him, and they're like, yo, he's perfect. They brought him in, and now he's in Now You See Me 3.
This was his first acting job. He was a student at Deerfield Academy. Kind of crazy if you think about it.
I also want to say,
Yeah.
I have a crackpot theory. I don't know what's wrong with me. I have this theory that nearly every great, amazing movie ever has one person in the credits where they say introducing blah, 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 because this is their first acting role. Holdovers, Dominic Sessa. In Kill Bill, the baby at the end of the movie says introducing. It technically counts. I like that movie a lot. The Suicide Squad, directed by James Gunn, the actress who plays Ratcatcher, first time acting. Sinners, Miles Canton. There's a bunch of other examples that I can't think of off the top of my head, but almost every single time I watch a movie where there's a new actress or actor who's starring for the first time ever in a role, it's a 5 out of 5 for me. Not the reason I give it a 5 out of 5, just happens to be the case. I think that's very interesting.
Just lines up.
That's why it's a crackpot theory for me, but I just thought I'd mention that at some point.
I do want to ask, do you guys want to guess how they made Giamatti's glass eye or lazy eye or whatever you want to call it?
I believe they covered it with like this actual like fake like contact, but he could not see for shit out of that eye, so it was really rough.
It was a hand-painted soft contact lens. So that's how they did do it.
Hand
wow.
painted is crazy.
Yeah. And actually Payne told him at first to put it in his left eye, but then he decided he wanted the effect to switch so you never know which eye is his real eye, like in the movie. So he told him to swap it out.
That's so cool.
Another little fun fact. It did come out October 27th, 2023. Which I thought it came out during Christmas, but I guess not. It came out Halloween.
I think that's a very good time to release a Christmas movie because you get people ready for November, you know? I think you get people ready for like around Christmas time. But then it's like not in theaters. I don't know if it was in theaters for Christmas, but maybe if your movie's good enough, they'll be like, well, now that's Christmas, we gotta bring it back. So then if it's good enough, maybe they get like a secondary, like half long theatrical run or something. So I think maybe they were banking on that.
At least this is
Yeah.
closer to Christmas. Like Die Hard came out in like 4th of July, wasn't it? It
Yeah.
was like something insane.
Really?
It's
They were like,
I didn't
it's
know
a,
that.
It's a Christmas movie, but it's action, so we got to release it summer. Yeah.
The Haunted
it's
Mansion
crazy.
movie came out like midsummer or whatever that was.
Yeah.
The Disney movie. That movie
Yeah.
I've heard was
I know.
terrible. Why would you release a Christmas or like a Halloween ass movie in like the middle of the summer? What are you doing? Nobody wants that.
The Holdovers was a box office success. It made $46 million on a budget of $13 million.
13. See, we got to be making movies like this.
know.
I'm sticking to this. I love a good
Hell
cheap
yeah.
movie.
Yep, same here.
It's all in the script. Script writers should be given more credit.
Amen.
I'm not just saying that.
I also agree as a scriptwriter, but
Yes.
it received critical acclaim, obviously, with praise in particular for the performances, especially that of Divine Joy Randolph. And she would go on to win the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress at the 96th Academy Award.
This is true.
This is true. It was also nominated for Best Picture, Actor for Giamatti, Original Screenplay, Film Editing, and obviously the Best Supporting Actress award, which Joy Randolph won. And I gotta bring up one last thing. I wonder if you know about this. Did you know about the plagiarism accusation that this was hit with, like right during awards season?
I did not know
I don't
about that.
know
I know
either.
during award season, a lot of stuff comes out just to like
A lot of stuff does come
take them
out.
down. What was it?
So there was a screenwriter by the name of Simon Stevenson who accused Payne of plagiarizing an unproduced script he had written called Frisco that appeared on the blacklist. And he claimed that he showed it to Payne twice and that Holdovers was forensically identical to it. But Tom McNulty, who seemingly was a producer tied to the unproduced script Frisco, questioned the claims and Payne outright refuted them, and nothing really has come from it. So I do think that the general consensus is that it was kind of supposed to undermine the film at awards, or, during the award season.
That makes sense. They don't need to be founded. They just need to be accused.
Yeah, exactly. Which brings up literally my only question. Do you guys think that these claims are real? I'm just going to throw out my answer right now. I don't. I think even if there was some connection, I mean, this Alexander Payne, I think only he can like bring forth a film in his very particular style and still make it this good. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah, I would say definitely not, because there's two other films that I would say reminded me, like this movie reminded me of two other films more than anything else.
Yeah,
So,
this is a very specific type of film that like has had numerous similar like versions, not versions, but like there are a lot of films with a lot of very similar elements in it that are still distinct.
I agree also. I don't think there's any like large concept in this film that is like groundbreaking. I think this movie thrives off of its nuance and is good because of its specifics. So I don't know if you could plagiarize this unless you like legitimately stole it page for page. I think there's like a possibility he showed him something and he was like, oh, that's cool, but it'd be cool if it was, instead of that, it was this. And then he kind of like went off down his own writer's path and then ended up at some conclusion that you could argue is similar to that. But I find that heavily unlikely. And I also think if those claims were true, they would have been followed up with, because that's a free bag waiting for that guy. If that was real, that guy would not be leaving that alone. He would be fucking fighting for his life trying to get that money.
I do want to mention one other thing before we kind of get into the movie. Alexander Payne, of course, has allegations, and it makes sense that he would seek out to work with Miramax, based off of Harvey Weinstein. Oh, yeah. He's got rape allegations. I think they're from the 80s or 90s with a minor.
Ew.
So, yeah, not ideal.
Oh my God.
He should die.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. He should go fuck himself.
It is unfortunate that a lot of good art has been made by just like shit people. So
This is like going to be weird. I think a reason is that good art comes from people who are not afraid to be themselves. And a lot of really selfish people are not afraid to be themselves. So being a shitty person comes hand in hand with good artistry from time to time. Not a requirement. Anybody listening who's like, man, my art sucks, don't fucking do that shit, you loser. But I think that lack of like fear of like doing bad things probably leads to you being more aggressive in an industry, leads to you like cutting more throats to get ahead, and also not being afraid to write down some weird ass shit onto like a piece of paper that ends up being like a huge hit on the big screen because it doesn't feel as creepy when it's like played by the most charismatic, charming man you've ever seen. That's just like a reality of it. I think that's why a lot of art is made by really shitty people. I also think the film industry and most art industries probably are just filled with creeps who like have specific obsessions.
100%.
So just like a naturally grown thing. But if you're smart, you can navigate around that and you don't have to be like that. So if Alexander Payne, if you do like little kids, you should do to yourself what I think Drake should do. So, that's all I'm going to say on that. If those are true.
I want to kick this off with my score. Actually, before I even do that, I'm going to mention the 2 movies that I thought of when watching this. First one, obviously.
Guess what?
Obviously, Dead Poets Society is the first one because, boarding school, similar themes. You got a young boy who I see a lot of myself in. And then the other movie.
Can I guess a second? Good Will Hunting?
No. David?
Dang!
Oh, I honestly was thinking Good Will Hunting too. Is it Ordinary People?
No, this is what I wanted to trick you with. It is the Grand Budapest Hotel because I feel like the visual style of this movie reminded me a lot of Wes Anderson, where you're setting up these grand shots that are just so beautiful and are also telling the story.
Right.
So I was a big fan of the way this movie was shot, of the themes in the movie, and the performances. And this is a 4.5. This is incredible. This is a great movie. Thank you, Sep. This was a very enjoyable experience.
You're welcome.
Like I said, I'm very, very happy that we did watch this now because I do feel like I would have forgotten about it. I watched this when it first came out, and I remember really liking it, but for some reason I gave it a 4 when it first came out. And when I rewatched it, I was like, why the hell did I give it a 4? Because it definitely grew on me. I feel like watching it the second time, maybe because I'm older, maybe because, I've experienced more of the film industry and the like bad parts of that a little.
Maybe because you saw it in the winter instead of in fucking October for some reason.
That is also very true. I feel like it definitely hit me a lot harder this time. It's not my favorite Alexander Payne movie. Let me just say that. And this is obviously very difficult to talk about knowing about the allegations. That being said, I do think that like you do need to like separate the art and the artist, especially when you're talking about a medium such as film where so many other people work on every single film. That obviously doesn't make it any easier to talk about, but my favorite film of his is Sideways. And I feel like this is very close to that. In some ways, I feel like emotionally this is a deeper film, but that film, for some reason, just speaks to me on just a higher level. That film is one of my favorite films of all time, to be honest. It's also very, very funny, which this is also very funny, but that's funny on another level. And yeah, this is a 4.5. I honestly feel like the next time I watch this could go up to a 5. I feel like every single time I watch it, it might just keep going up until it gets to a 5. Just because it is that kind of movie where I do feel like you need to watch it time and time again to fully understand.
I did want to say 2 things about my score. One of them is this is a 4.5 for one reason only, and it's something that you actually brought up, Sep, which is these people are all very sad, and then you start to see them have a little bit of hope at the end of the movie. And my favorite thing in movies is when you have people who are sad and then their life gets worse.
Oh.
And for that reason, this is a 4.5.
You just wanted them to suffer more.
You would be a very good Spider-Man fan.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Every
okay.
Spider-Man fan wants to see that guy suffer.
Yeah.
They're fucking terrible to him.
Damn, we should watch these. I mean, David was just talking about Spider-Man last week. Like, yeah. The other thing I wanted to say about this movie specifically is I know this is a Christmas movie. We didn't watch it during Christmas time, but I feel like this is not just a Christmas movie as well. Like, it feels like the topics that they touch on are so important because it's Christmas, but it is also just a movie for like people who are dealing with like bad things in their life in general. And Christmas is the time that like brings out those things even more because it's supposed to be like fully about family and like spending time with the people you love. But so I wanted to also say that well, this is a Christmas movie, and I feel like it would probably hit even harder during Christmas. I do think it is a great like any viewing time, and especially winter viewing time, because it looks so like it's a perfect winter, you know?
I agree. I also want to say I love a bad ending in terms of not that the ending is bad, but like it ends badly for the characters. I really enjoy those endings, to be honest. Although I think you absolutely need happy endings a lot of the time. And I also love endings where it's in the middle.
I think that's what this is.
Yes, I agree. And I think that that's absolutely what was needed. I'm happy that the ending for these characters wasn't either good or bad. Like I'm happy that they still have like all the pain inside them, but they have more hope. I think
True, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that's the best way to handle a film like this. That's the best way to portray these characters. And I think a lot of that also has to do with the way that the actors portray them. In my opinion, there are certain films that are like quote unquote actor films where an actor actually has to carry the film by their performance. And this is absolutely one of those. And it's not just one of the characters that has to do that, or one of the actors that has to do that. It's literally all three of them. And I think that's why the performances were lauded. And I gotta say, it's kind of crazy that Divine Joan Randolph, like, that this was her first kind of known performance, because she is amazing in this film. I would have thought that like she would have blown up, as an actress far sooner than this. So yeah, I feel like why wasn't she more well known when she was like in her 20s? But anyway,
I wonder why.
that's beside the fact. Well, I mean, we all know why.
Maybe
Yeah.
some group of women in particular are very sidelined in the film industry. I don't know what it would be though. I can't really
wonder.
place my finger on it. Fun fact time. Whoa. Did you know that Alexander Payne apparently worked on Inside Out 3?
What?
Not the Pixar movie though. I'm looking at him on Google right now. Apparently there's a movie listed called Inside Out 3, like Roman numeral 3, 1992. He had something to do with it. He worked on it. I'm trying to look more into it. I don't know why that's there, but it seems like a pretty big thing on his thing. So I guess that's something. I don't know.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's good. I did not know that.
Yeah. I love this movie, of course. The first time I watched it, I gave it a 4.5. And I think part of that was like, I really liked it, but I had a feeling I was going to come back to it and like it more the second time. And I'd regret giving it a lower number, because I think the first time I saw it was like a 4 for me probably. But I was like, I'm going to come back. I'm going to like this way more. And then like a week or two went by. It was around like Christmas time, and I was like on streaming. I was like, screw it, I'm gonna watch this again. I watched it again. I was like, this is awesome. This is great. I gave it a 4.5 again, and then I watched it again. I was like, shit, dude, this is like a little bit more than 4.5. But I can't do more than 4.5 according to the Letterboxd rating scale. So I guess it's just another 4.5. And I just kept watching until it was a 5 for me. I think this movie has like a lot of fun things to it. I think you're right about it being very Wes Anderson, Brandon. I think the reason it's like that is because it was shot entirely on actual locations.
Yeah.
Not a single stage or like sound stage or anything in this entire movie. These are all real places. Even that house that like was like straight out of the 70s was actually like just a real place they found with minor adjustments done to it, which is pretty cool. I think more movies should use real locations, even if it's difficult, because I just think it adds a lot of tone to it. But I also think some people might disagree with you on it looking like a Wes Anderson movie, and that's because they haven't seen early Wes Anderson movies. So good on you on this uncultured pop culture journey, that you can understand the difference between early and late Wes Anderson, because Wes Anderson has become I don't think in a bad way, a caricature of himself, because fucking nobody else is making movies like he is. And I think it's awesome that he makes movies the way he does. Some people are like, it's stupid. I'm like, okay, but if he wasn't making it, who else was, you know? And like people argue like that's like a waste of his talent because like they liked his older stuff more. And I could see that, but there's other talented people out there, but nobody can do that shit like he can. And he should be allowed to make whatever he wants, unless he also has rape allegations, in which case go to hell. But
yeah, that's the caveat for everything, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Everything except for music. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. I can't think of somebody who I would let slide.
I mean, I was gonna say I was expecting like a Drake.
Taylor Swift.
There, but
a lot of people let it slide for Taylor Swift, and they shouldn't. She was obsessed with a 17-year-old boy and moved across the street from him, and then preyed on him when his grandparent died or some shit. I don't know. Freaky stuff.
Harry Styles.
Also weird.
I mean,
That
no,
relationship.
I was gonna say he was 17 too. I thought that's who you were talking about. There's another one.
There's another one. There was somebody whose like grandparent died, and she was like, "Oh my god, we should be together." And she moved across the street from him and everything. It's like, dude,
that's weird.
Like, and like to be fair, like she was like a child who became famous through her music, so she did not grow up normal. So that's like like you give a kid money, that's what you would do. But she was also 21, so I feel like at that point take responsibility for the fact that you're an adult and figure stuff out. Anyway, that's not the point of the movie that we're talking about. I just totally rambled there for a second, but it's true. I think it's nice that they use physical sets for this. I also think it's interesting that none of this was shot on film.
I was wondering about
none of it.
That is kind of crazy.
What happened was that they kept trying to come up with ways to shoot it on film. They used different lenses. They used a bunch of different techniques. But then at the end of the day, they realized if they did shoot it on film, they would have to shoot it on film and then go through an entirely different process to make it look like a different kind of film than what they were filming on. And it seemed redundant. So instead, they designed like very specific LUTs and then like paired that with specific camera work. And they did like a lot of testing. They just like filmed stuff before they started making the actual movie, using a bunch of different cameras and lenses until they figured out what they wanted to do, put the LUTs on it, and we're like, oh my god, we finally found our look. And I miss movies that look like this. I think that's one of the reasons I sat down to watch this movie. So if anyone in Hollywood is listening, the way movies look mean a lot to me. And I don't even really care about it that much, but it just does mean a lot to me, even if I'm not like super passionate about it. So that should say a lot.
From the start of this movie, it's like, oh, this is what this is. And you get an idea just from the way it looks. And I loved that. Like even the small things of making the Miramax and the Focus Features logos look old. It's like, it just brings you into that world immediately. The super extended
Prime
title
Weinstein
sequence,
era.
Like it's just, oh my God. Yeah. Prime Weinstein era.
That's one of my favorite parts of this film. It's just so lush without being too much. It's like every frame feels like kind of perfect.
It's comforting that this is shot on digital. I think when digital came out, a lot of people didn't know what to do. So there's just this chunk of history where movies just kind of look like ass.
Yeah.
But people are, specifically A24 seems to be like really locked in on like making that work. And people are like, oh, it's the A24 look. It's like, no, it really shouldn't be. But they are the only ones who are doing it. So I guess I'll give them the credit for it. It's comforting to me to know that like you can do this with digital and that hopefully in the future more people go for it. Some people might call it pretentious, and maybe it is because you're copying like how older things looked. It's like putting an Instagram filter on something and like saying like, oh, it looks retro.
It's paying homage.
It's paying homage. It's a lot of more work than just putting on a filter for something like this. It takes a lot of precise, painstaking ass work to make it look the way this did. And I like that. That's cool.
It's also just trying to make it look good, which I think as long as it looks good, I don't care about like whether you're paying homage or not. Like I don't care about any of that. Like ultimately the bottom line is it should look good. It's a film.
You could show this movie to a child and then like be like, that actor right there, that's Paul Giamatti. And then they'd be like, whoa, that's so cool. And then you could look them dead in the face and be like, he's 50 right now. And they'd be like, he's not dead?
True.
What do you mean he's still alive? He's still like kicking around. This movie looks like it's genuinely from the era that it takes place in a very real way. You could convince people if they didn't know how old actors were present day. Like you could tell somebody Dominic Sessa, yeah, he's like 62 right now, and they'd be like, yeah, I believe it. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, that makes sense. No, he's not. Dude's like 23, 24. He's younger than we are.
I know he is, and it sucks. I hate it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But it's so like cool that you could do that with a movie. I think that's great.
No, this is beautiful, and I will say I'm a big fan of shooting on digital and then making it look like film, because when you shoot on digital, you can do anything you want, and that is the freedom that I like when I'm creating things as well. Wow, what a movie. I was expecting to like it, and I thought in my head 3.5 going in, and then I was blown away. And for a long part of this movie, I was like, this is a 5 until I see how it ends. And a 4.5 is a great score, let me tell you, because it is damn near impossible to get to a 5. And I've only done it 4 times for movies on this podcast. So
what else, if I can ask, was a 5? Because I'm curious. I haven't watched every episode.
Yes, it is my top 4 on Letterboxd. So Ordinary People, Eternal Sunshine, The Kid Detective, which was Dante's choice.
Fuck.
And I don't remember what the 4th one was.
That means Dante's ass got me. Oh. Have you seen the Indiana Jones films?
Actually, I think I've only seen the first one.
You gotta bring me back on here so I can show you.
Your 4th is Parasite.
Yet you remember the Holdovers and not Parasite. Maybe that means
True.
That this is better. Nah, Parasite's crazy.
I mean, there is something to be said, because I do also think about Call Me By Your Name more. I feel like there's just some movies that hit me more that are going to be 4.5s, because like to me, a 5 is just like borderline unattainable, because it's got to be like the best of the best. And a 4.5 is like, I mean, I think I've explained this before on the podcast, and I feel like I've definitely said it to David before, where the actual like scores that I can give are like 1 to 4.5. And then a 0.5 is like the worst shit that is like so bad that it's actually hilarious that it exists.
Yeah.
And a 5 is like the greatest thing I've ever seen. And it transcends beyond just being
I
like,
think
perfect.
you can't watch Parasite and then read a little bit about like the process that it took to make it and not think it's a 5 out of 5 movie, because like those storyboards are bonkers. There's so much stuff in that movie where it's like, damn, this guy really cares about making movies. Like, Parasite's awesome. I've only ever seen it once. I don't care about that much, but I could never argue that it's less than a 5, because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to watch this again, but like, damn, this shit's good. Like,
yeah, that was just one of those ones where I was like, wow, it just hit you. But I've had that with a lot of the 4.5s on here too.
It's one of those films where you watch it and you're like, yep, I know exactly what
yeah.
I'm going to give it. Like, there's no question about it.
Yeah, and that's like almost how I felt about this too. Like this is the top end of my score. Like, and honestly, this could go up to a 5 if I watch it more, and maybe if I watch it during the holiday season, it'll go up to a 5. Like, I could definitely see that happening.
That's what happened to me. I think it's cool because like when I think like holiday movies, I think The Grinch, Home Alone, Elf. You know, like those 3 movies have been the top 3 dogs for like holiday movies forever. If you want to watch a holiday movie, it's those 3. I don't even know if there's anything else in the conversation. Maybe Nightmare Before Christmas, Die Hard, if you want to be that guy.
Yeah.
But like,
I'm sorry, but Die Hard is
like
a Christmas
you
movie.
say Die Hard. I agree, it's a Christmas movie. But if I say it, someone's gonna be like,
Then you're that
just
guy.
you're just
Yeah.
suggesting that so you can say the Reddit thing you read. And it's like, no, I actually want to watch Die Hard. And also maybe say the thing that everyone knows. Like, maybe. Like, so, like, I think this movie is up there with Elf. Not Grinch. I'm not a big Grinch fan. I love Grinch. I think it's great. I wouldn't call it one of my favorite Christmas movies. But it's up there with Elf and Home Alone as just like, this is straight up good. Like, whoa, I watch this every Christmas.
It's also so nice because it's not like a happy movie for Christmas. And I love those when it's like something that you're like,
100%.
that you know you're going to feel or you're supposed to feel with a holiday or with a certain time of the year, and then you don't feel it. And that's what was so like impactful about this movie as well. You know, it's a happy time of year, but it's not a happy movie.
I think it's cool that Christmas has become this like societal thing where like people don't even talk about it, but like it is like the most like depressing time for so many people. And we're just like, yeah, it is. Like, duh. Obviously it's Christmas. And it's like, it really is that holiday that has had the most pressure put onto it for things to be perfect. And it's become such a miserable time for so many people. And I like that there's a Christmas movie that both shares like that acknowledgement, but also looks so old that it's like, oh, haha, we're ahead of the game. We've been saying this,
True.
but it just came out like 2 years ago. But you could just convince somebody that like, oh, wow, they really knew that Christmas was like that 30, 40 years ago, or 50, I guess. Oof.
Oh,
70s
God,
was a long
yeah.
time ago.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah.
We're getting old, guys.
We used to be so awesome, and now we're just chuds.
Hey, you can't say that.
Fucking-
That's Dante's line.
Now we're just chuds who are jestergooning.
Got to bring it full circle.
We're just jestergooning to some foids. Back then, we used to just call them the B word.
Oh God.
Yeah. Real quick, on Call Me If You Get Lost, on the end of like Corso or something, I think it's Corso, Tyler says, I don't even like using the word bitch. I just thought it sounded cool. And I've always felt that way because I use the word bitch so much, but it's just because it rolls off the tongue super nice.
It really
But
does.
all my life, I've never called a woman bitch. I've only ever called a man a bitch or jokingly used the term. I've never used it in an angry way. Ever, I think. It's just a very fun word. It's such a shame that it's mean. That's another reason I like Call Me If You Get Lost.
Because he says I didn't even want to say bitch, and then he says it on like every single song on the album too, which is I thought that was so funny.
Right? Yeah. I think an etymology guy should explain why we like the word bitch so much, because I don't hate women, so it can't be that. Shout out women, best thing in the world.
Shout out women.
After jester gooning, obviously. I there's nothing I love more than gooning a little jesterly, you know?
Of course. Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, I think that brings us to the end of this episode. And I gotta say,
What a horrible way to end this.
thank you for coming on this episode, on this podcast. This is crazy. What an insane amount of time. I feel like I'm not going to be able to cut as much out of this one as I did out of Oscar. So, I mean, we'll see. You might win for the longest episode in Uncultured Pop Culture history.
Was
so far.
Oscars down to 2 hours and 30
2 hours
minutes?
35, I think, was
was
the
it
final. So, I mean, we're
35?
over
I think
we're over 3 hours.
I think Oscar wins. I could talk about Marty Supreme if you guys would like. I really want to beat Oscar. I want to get
I
his
don't know
ass.
how much I have left in me. We're over 3 hours. It's a
No,
different
I'm
day
kidding.
now.
What was longer for him, music or movies?
Oh
Movies
my
for
god!
sure.
I think movie
It was the opposite for you.
Dune. I was thinking Dune, but I was like, the music portion just lends itself to talking for so long because you have to go through every single song. So I was like, I could see it being that, but like, that fucking guy loves Dune.
He does.
He loves it
He
so
really
much.
does, and he's coming on next season again
What?
to talk about.
We have
part
to do
2.
it.
He's
Holy
coming
shit.
on.
Can I do Mbiamba Bones?
I mean,
wanna do
if
Indiana
you claim
Bones.
it now, I'll put
Dibs.
it down. All
Dibs.
right, there you go.
Thanks.
Indiana
Thank you.
Jones next season.
Indiana.
Everybody watch out.
Ooh, or the Lego Ninjago movie. No, you're gonna give that a 2 and I'm gonna cry on camera. I don't want that.
That's a new dynamic, though. That's
Yeah.
never happened on the podcast.
Got to bring out
That
new
is,
things.
yeah. You're gonna have to learn that sometimes a movie's fun and that also makes it a 5 out of 5.
That's true.
It's just like a good silly time.
The highest I could go is a 4.5 for something that's super fun, but not
4.5.
but not amazing.
Yeah,
So
that's fair. That's super fair. I think I give it like a 4. I don't think that's a 5 out of 5 movie at all. It's not even canon. It's not canon. The antagonist is a kitty cat. Come on, people. Ninjago's a serious story. It is. It's really good.
well, Sep, thank you so much for coming on the Uncultured Pop Culture podcast.
Jay is my favorite ninja.
We
Kai
have
is
so
mine.
many
Just throwing it out
things
there.
to talk about in this
From the show.
I don't even know what's
Basic.
happening
Sorry.
right now. I've never watched this before. I never bought the Ninjago stuff. I don't
Oh
know
my
anything
God,
about
you have
this. I'm
to.
so sorry.
You have to.
Well,
We
maybe
might
you-
have to
maybe you've
cover
just
that.
We'll do the
decided.
first 5 seasons of Ninjago for the next
Maybe
episode.
you've just decided what your movie is for next time you're here.
I think you kind of did.
5 seasons of a TV show.
I didn't mean that. I meant the movie. But I mean, I
Okay,
guess.
fine. I'll do
technically.
Indiana Jones. Yeah.
We can do an uncultured pop culture spin-off.
It's good.
Sep joins
Yeah.
and we talk about each episode of Ninjago. 5 seasons.
I won't say no.
The Weekend Whip. That's what we're going to call it.
I don't know what that's in reference to, but it sounds
It's a
amazing.
reference to the theme song. That's a reference to
you.
the theme song of the show, which is a good theme song. You should do a little episode about the theme song.
A
for
bonus
Ninjago.
episode.
I think that'd be
Well,
good.
I want
A
to
little
say
bonus episode. Just you, no David.
he knows more about it than I do.
Honestly,
I know
yeah.
nothing about this. With that, thank you so much for joining the Uncultured Pop Culture podcast and talking for so long about these wonderful things. It was so fun to have you on, and it's so fun to do guest episodes all the time. And I want to give you this opportunity to plug anything that you have going on in your life, anything that you're working on, anything that you want our loyal listeners of Uncultured Pop Culture to find you on.
So my name's Sepanta Payne. So if you just see that anywhere, I think it stands out. If you see that anywhere, just go support it, whatever it is. I do actually want to start doing stand-up comedy soon. So if you're in the LA area, just follow me on Instagram. I might start posting about that in like 2-3 months. If you ever hear about a TV show called Undergrads and it has my name attached to it, watch that. If it doesn't have my name attached to it, tell me so I can sue them, because what the hell? I came up with that first, and that's on record now. That's like on Spotify.
True.
So they can't like argue that it's not true. It's a super original name. There's no way anyone else has thought of it. Other than that, I don't have anything like immediately coming out anytime soon. I have a podcast episode with my friends where we talk about Call Me If You Get Lost and the Holdovers. So that's coming out soon, but I'm recording that like tonight. So I don't think it's going to be out for a while. But other than that, that's all I got. So, yeah.
Do you want to plug your Instagram? Or, I mean, we'll link it in the description below and any other accounts you want.
It's just my name, Sepanta Payne, Sepanta Payghamy. That's AMY like Amy. It's my full name because nobody else can do that, because everyone else got boring-ass names. So if I can do that, I'm going to do that. So that's why. And Sepanta was taken by a gay porn star. So
wow, I feel like you told me this the first time I met you, and then I forgot about it.
Yeah, it pissed me off. His last name is my only other Persian friend's name. Oh, from high school. I have another Persian friend now.
Shout out Persia.
But yeah.
Shout out Armenia too.
Shout out.
While we're at it.
Shout out shout out Persia, fuck Iran. The government, the people, free them.
Yes, yes.
And for Armenia.
Amen.
Hey, I support that for Armenia.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, you have reached the end of the episode. You can follow us on Instagram. You can follow us on anywhere else that we may have linked in the description of this episode, because we have a link tree there, which has everything that you could ever need.
You can also send us an email about how much you love Armenia to upcpod@gmail.com.
True. And you can check our Instagram for next week's episode, because, guys, it's the last one of the season.
That's right.
It's episode 53, and then we're done with season 1. So
it's a big one.
And I'm going to be returning as a surprise special guest.
You'll have to record a segment and put it in. It's a long-ass movie.
3.5 hours.
On that note, we will see you next week.
See ya.
Bye.